Good
what
evening,
happened?
folks.
Sorry.
You still there?
Yeah, I thought my computer crashed. Sorry.
Ain't no problem. Good evening, everybody. We got a unique show, I believe, planned for y'all tonight. And it's the title has what the shit?
It's not a vault stream without hiccups. I love it. Makes it feel back to normal.
I'm trying to figure out where all the damn noise
What happens
comes
in
from.
live?
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, y'all, we've already went left. But for all the people that are confused about the title, it may not mean what you think it means. We're going to talk about the people that like to hoax Bigfoot, Dogman, Ghost, whatever, and why the hell these fools waste their time, especially when they're trying to hoax seasoned investigators. This happened to me just recently. So, without further ado, my panel is going to be the one and only DDoS from the DDRP. And who is the fella to your left right there, DD?
This is a good friend Mark from Cascade Bigfoot.
Yeah, I am Mark.
Welcome, Mark. Welcome. Always welcome here. Well, then we got the lovely Lakea, the lovely Vamp, and always your most terrifying creature, the Vault Keeper.
Thank you for inviting us on. It is really important, I think, what you're about to cover. And I have a lot of stuff to say, of course.
Well, to get started, I'm going to tell some people about the little investigation that I went on that turned out to be one of the craziest, probably hoaxes I've ever been on and seen. They had a few good ideas of hoaxing. Well, ain't nothing a good idea when it comes to hoaxing, but they got a little ingenious and inventive, I think, all the way down to I would love to see them try to put these fake footprints on a horse so they could get the depth in the ground and stuff. I would love to have seen that. I guarantee the horse enjoyed it just as much. But got a hold of these two guys. One of them contacted me. I did a little bit of an interview with him. And finally talked him into going out to this property that no one was supposed to have been at for a while, and met up with him. We met not too far away from the supposable site, and on the way there, my radar just started going off by just the little things they were saying. They were more interested in how they were going to get on TV and how I was going to film them, because they didn't see any filming equipment or where my film crew was. That was my first key. We get there to the property, and there's not a gate there or nothing. And there's fresh four-wheel tracks, four-wheel drive tracks. And the guy's like, we're going to park right here and walk in, because I don't know if your vehicle can get there. And I'm in the Beast. No, I think we can make it. I like it in four-wheel drive. We bust through a couple of holes, get back there. And as soon as we get out, I noticed how used I'd say this place is. We got beer cans laying out there. You can see old targets where people have been shooting. It's just somebody's done trashed a really at one time pretty place. Well, I asked him, I said, looks like there's a whole lot of activity out here. Oh, no, man. Ain't nobody been here in several years. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I ain't stupid either. That was the first clue. Then I asked him to take me to where they had their first encounter. We start walking down, and he goes, oh, look. There's some fresh tree breaks, it looks like. I get over there. Now, you can ask just about any other researcher. Me and D has talked about this. Folks, a tree break is 90% of the time not going to be something like a pine tree or like that there. They usually use gums, hardwoods. Don't know why, but when they break, it's more like a twist, so it blows up, and the tree kind of blows up like a splinter and then bends over. These, you could tell, had been sawed into and then broke off, and they wasn't but about 3 feet off the ground. unless that was one of the shortest Bigfoot on record, and he's carrying around a saw, I just don't believe he made this. And then it wasn't in most tree breaks. They kind of follow a pattern. They're going to be in some sort of a line. These were just sporadic. Then we get down to the so-called picture, the area where they took the pictures of the tracks. Well, for several years to have went by, these tracks are still there, still pretty legible in the ground. I'm talking about, I'm guessing when I first look at it, it's probably maybe a month old, if it's that old. And they're probably a stride and a half apart for a 6-foot man. So, and they're probably about 3-4 inches deep. So something heavy did it. It's just the way they were set up. They wasn't quite side by side, but they were almost side by side. Not like a human, and definitely not like a squatch or a dog man. And these things were just weird looking. They were about 14 inches long. Had some
3 toes.
Yeah, 3 toes with some kind of claw looking thing on the end of it that just threw me for a loop. Well, I start looking around, and I can't. Now, this is probably a 66 acres, if I remember. It took me several hours going over the whole thing, dragging these 2 lunkheads with me. I found no evidence of anything out there except for us and a bunch of damn idiot rednecks shooting up stuff. I'm talking about there's not even no wildlife sign. There's not hardly any deer sign. There's a barbed wire fence that goes all the way around this place, 5 strands, comes up to about center of my chest, which I'm going to say roughly around 4.5 feet. I find no sort of hair of any kind that I would relate to Bigfoot. So I start getting into the point where the guy says, well, what do you think? And I turn around and tell him it's exactly what I think. That's the kind of person I am. I said, I think this is a bunch of BS. He said, what do you mean a bunch of BS? I said, I think you're trying to pull a hoax, and you're not that damn good at it. You didn't do enough homework. One of them kind of gets a little pissy. That didn't go over well because I'm now agitated. So we have a vault keeper heart to heart. I'll put it to you that way. I won't go into that much detail about that part, but I got one of them to admit, while the other one was pissing on himself, that yes, they hoaxed it and got a few details. They actually used a horse with some kind of apparatus they'd come up with attached to the bottom of this horse, his foot, all 4 of his hooves. That's why the stride was like a stride and a half apart, and the depth, because the horse is about 14 hands high, which would make it around 1,400 pound horse. Needless to say, that was one of the most disappointing, aggravating crap that I've ever seen and done and been a part of, because that's one of the things that is disheartening to a real investigator. Am I wrong, D?
No, not at all. I'd say it's infuriating, and what you told me, you handled the situation extremely well.
Yeah, I'm talking, and I can't believe the guy had the nerve to get upset because I told him he was full of BS. When he's full of BS.
Well, I mean, it's, and and that's why I wanted to come on, and why I brought on Mark. Mark, I don't know if you've done any the people investigation part of it, been called out or anything.
No, I've done that.
I've done 2, just 2. But answering emails and everything, I talk to people who have experiences on an everyday basis. And there's grown men who's been in tears because they can't even tell their wives what they've been through. For these jokers to drag somebody out, like you said, they didn't really do their homework. They're pretty clever for stupid.
Yeah, man. I call them Beavis and Butthead wannabes. I was actually going to name them, but after talking to Kay and talking to you, that gives them merit. and I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to name them, but
Right.
you know, it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And every time I think about it, it just makes me, somebody
The thing is, when you want to take it seriously, you know, and you get called out on something like that, say it was somebody who's less experienced and they go out there, you know, and they really don't know what they're looking because they don't have that much experience in the deep brush or even doing any kind of investigation. It makes the entire community look bad. Mark, myself, anybody who takes the time out of their day away from their families to do this. Because if something like that got out and it was found out after the fact, that's less people who are likely to believe somebody when they put out something real.
That's the whole thing. That's what makes it so hard to get. And I don't try intentionally to make a non-believer believe. You either do or you don't with me, and you keep up. But it makes it even harder for your evidence to be took seriously.
In a way, I mean, like, you know, I don't know. It depends on what kind of evidence you have. But the whole thing is, these people are time wasting, just ridiculous. I don't even know what you'd call it. Like the people that just want attention seekers. There you go. They want to be on YouTube and be interviewed, and so they'll make up some cockamamie nonsense story.
No, it's and see, that's the thing. That's all that was my first big clue, is they were so worried about when will this be aired, or do you think do we have enough evidence out here that we've showed you so far to get on like a TV show or something? That was my first clue. You know, it's people that have real scary encounters, I would say, because all of them are not tree hugging, you know, stuff like that. They're not interested in getting on TV, and they're not interested in getting their name out there. Most of these people don't even want their names used.
Absolutely.
And they absolutely don't want their place to be featured. You know, hey, tell that, you know, we'll give you GPS coordinates, that way you can put them up on your show. No, they don't even want people to know what state they're in, much less where their property is.
That's been a red flag for me, because, you know, I get emailed on a daily basis, and you can kind of weed through them by the people who adamantly pursue. You know, if it's a short sentence, somebody wants to talk to me, most of the time they leave their number, I will call them. And like you say, you know, the people who just want to be out there like that, I don't really give much merit to. And when I do, one time I did, it ended up coming back to bite me. So,
well, see, these idiots don't think of what they're, you know, my time is valuable if it ain't valuable to nobody but me. And
right.
They wasted not only my time, my money, and my effort. I could have actually been out somewhere else researching a real encounter, a real sighting. Maybe I would have learned something I didn't know before that would help me figure out some more stuff, instead of jacking off with these two yahoos.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's the biggest thing.
It's ridiculous. It pissed me off when you told me, because I've given up so much to pursue this, and it's you know, it's Bigfoot Dogman research project's gaining momentum because I think people know. And I'm like you, you know, I'm not looking to convince anybody. There's a lot of great channels on YouTube that can explain it in a better way than I can anyways, of the hows and the whys. They're there whether we believe in them or not. You know, Mark, myself, there's a lot of researchers who have Kirk Stokes. I always put him at the top of that list. I mean, there's so much good evidence out there. When one of these jackasses like this, somehow, whoever he talks to, who doesn't have any kind of foresight on what's going on, when they slip through the cracks and their little hoax is put out there, and there's, you know, MD, I won't say his name because it makes me nauseous, the biggest hoaxer of all time in the Bigfoot community. When you have these type of characters that somehow slip through the cracks and get that fame and that money that they want, this person I'm referring to is still out there, still doing the same thing. He pulled two major hoaxes that made the news.
I think I know who you're talking about. Actually,
I know you do.
I think he pulled three, and he was actually working on a fourth one.
Yeah, see,
You're talking about the guy whose initials are RD?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And see, like I said, I don't even want to say these people's names because that gives them merit. People go look them up now, and that's what they want. They want to be famous regardless if it's in a good light or a bad light. But D knows, because I called him just right after it happened. I drove several hours just to get there for this stupid stuff. I'm talking mad don't cover how I felt.
Oh, and the stuff you're describing to me, like how it had saw marks down right above the roots of the tree. There was no stress fracture.
Nope.
From something that's as strong as a machine. You know, tracks that they said that were there 2 years ago are identical to what you're seeing when you're in the field.
You
like I said, you handled a lot better than me.
You could see where they jumped up and tried to grab a hold of this tree to bend it over, and the limb actually broke. Then they actually had to shimmy up the tree a little ways to get it to start bending over and then break it after they'd sawed it a little bit. And you could actually find the sawdust down in the pine straw.
And that's the thing, you know, when these things are going to be a whole lot bigger and a whole lot stronger than us, and you're going to need some sort of machine or tool to replicate what they're doing.
Dude, I've come across in the foothills of the Appalachia, like I was telling you, there are rocks struck. I don't know why they pile them up like this, but they'll make these nice looking, like stacking Legos. There's rocks that 4 of us can barely pick up and maybe move a few feet, and they've stacked them up nice and neat like they were Legos.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that. There's out in my research area. It's real isolated in the Cascade Mountains, and there's one retired gentleman that lives out there that he's the only guy around for probably over 20 miles, and he has a hidden cabin. He's kind of a hermit, and he kind of gives me leads on areas to go to, and he heard some stuff over here, saw some stuff over here. He said he's been way back in over a couple ridges, and he says there's boulders back there that are probably 400 or 500 pounds, and they're stacked like snowmen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That I found that all up and down the Appalachian Trail. I don't know what that means. That's the other thing me and Dee were talking about. That's one of the things I'm actually studying a lot of now. It's not just the creatures, it's the behind, to try to find out. Maybe that'll help us understand them better. You know, why do they make the X's? Why do they make the tree breaks? Why do they? I figured out why they, like I said, they'll rip a tree out of the ground by the roots, turn it upside down, and shove it back in the ground. Stuff like that. Like, you know, maybe if we can understand what they're leaving behind, we can understand the creature better.
Right, and I mean, I told you, like, right when you think you got a grasp on something, you know, it'll be something you've never seen before that you can't explain, you know. Even if those tree breaks are going in a line, I mean, I'll follow them, you know, because they seem like it makes sense if they're all broken down one way. And it leads to nothing of significance of any kind.
Nope.
It probably is to them, but.
Well, I say stuff that makes sense to us. I'm like you. Stuff that should make sense to me, a lot of times does not make any sense when you go to figure it. You know, when you follow this stuff, it leads you back deeper into the woods, and you're like, well, maybe it'll come up to a nest. And if it did, I didn't see it, but it's just crazy, the stuff that they leave behind.
And, you know, sometimes, well, I think that they just get bored. I found a hole one time. You could tell it was a finger, a big finger. And you could tell something stuck its finger like really deep in the ground and was just like digging around like a kid would it in a sandbox. Maybe they're doing some of this stuff because they ain't got nothing else to do. Who knows? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. There's so much unknown. So I actually, instead of using a shotgun effect, I picked something and started going with it. And like I said, I'm trying to figure out what their signs mean. I've even found some signs in a bank. I'm talking about, when I say a bank, this is probably a 10-foot wall of red clay, probably, like I said, 10 foot tall, probably 20, 30 foot long. And it looked like somebody had, you know how I'm just kind of thinking what language it is. It's kind of like Sanskrit, just the lines that, you know, that like you make 3 lines, you put a cross across them, and it almost looked like numerical numbers or something like that, but it didn't make any sense. I don't know if it was like one of them playing, or I'm not saying they write letters to each other or nothing, but you know, just in, like you said, you're talking about a finger that did it, probably the width of one of your knuckles or bigger.
I saw something maybe on YouTube, or I can't remember exactly, but somebody had the same thing going on around their cabin where they had a bunch of Bigfoot activity, and they were leaving sticks kind of arranged in these symbols, and he started taking pictures of them and then started researching them. They ended up being Chinese characters.
See, that's what's weird, you know.
Yeah, right. I heard about it. That's nuts.
And see, that's one of the things I've never released that you know, that I've come across. Like I said, I've never seen it but one time. That was it. And to this day, I still don't know what the hell it was. I don't know what it meant, you know. And it wasn't like it was very old, because if you touched the front of that red clay, it would flake off. So, you know, it couldn't have been there probably a couple of days at the most. Because I went back.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I went back a couple of months later, and all of it was gone. It was, you know, because it done flaked off and fell down, and the water running, and from rain, it was gone. I got lucky enough to see that while it was there. What was you saying?
When I started investigating the Texas side, you know, I've been comfortable, thought I'd start learning a whole lot, not thinking that I was just in the bedding area, and that just right across the river, a stone's throw away from where I've been this entire time, is where they hunt. I know Mark's seen it. There's more tree breaks in that video, and in that little patch of land. I mean, is it not madness? Like,
oh yeah, it's insane. I couldn't believe
acres upon acres of trees just broken. And when I say broken, it's not like these clowns who couldn't even hoax if they wanted to. I mean, they're sawing down like, you know, they're clearing the land. Something big just went through there and started snapping every other tree he could find. It's where this tree house and this hunter. This hunter he'd gone missing from this place. He wasn't reported missing, but you could tell he was run out. It's this isolated patch of hunting ground that's Army Corps of Engineer land. And there was an investigative team that came down. They investigated, and I went in afterwards and did a follow-up. And it turns out nobody knew where this guy was or who he was. He left a really expensive game camera in there, bullets that were actually replaced in between the time that the investigation team got there and that they brought me out. These bullets in this bag, in this big treehouse thing he had built, were replaced with wood chips. And eventually, you know, we found out the guy was alive and well, but he got ran out by 3 large creatures. This thing's about 9-10 feet off the ground. And he said their heads were, you know, they could look inside, you know, this structure he had built. And the only opening was to the front. You know, I thought he had hiked in the 4 miles that I went in, which is only 100 yards away. They ran him on a moonless night all the way through thickets, thorn bushes, all the trees they had torn down. And the guy that found him, that reached out to me, said that, you know, he was pissed off that he had even contacted him. And he wanted him to come and, you know, talk to me and tell his story. And he got even more pissed off. And I said, yeah, that's probably not a good thing. Because, I mean, what the guy went through was traumatic. It's an encounter, you know, like, and he told him, this isn't a story. I'll never go back in the woods again. And I hate hearing that when people have these encounters.
Yeah, so like I said, go ahead.
So he went from a non-believer. Was he a non-believer prior? And then,
well, I mean, that treehouse had to take some time.
Yeah,
he had to have been in there at least a couple of days to build it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he said that he's seen large dark figures coming out of the woods, and before he knew it, they're right up on that treehouse. And before he could think, you know, they were slapping and beating on it. And when he was running towards the river, and this is, you know, this researcher who's relaying this to me, he said that he could hear them like talking amongst themselves. He could feel their breath on the back of his neck, and he could hear them like they're talking to each other, like get him or something like that, you know. And that's, yeah, of course, that's frightening, but you have to look at the area, you know. That's all I try to do, show people what's out there and show them how it's not natural. It couldn't be. Keep your head on the swivel.
I bet you what he was hearing when he heard get him is they do it's an odd sound. It's like a that's the easiest way I can mimic it. It's like I call it a challenge. Like, I'm here. I'm the biggest bad thing. Come on, give me. You know, I'll try you. It's the easiest way I can describe, because like I said, I've had them do that to me.
Right. Well, I mean, I hate the guy got ran out of that area, and I hate that he said he's not going to. I mean, obviously, if he built that thing and he took the river to get down to this place, it's really isolated. Like I said, I have to hike 4 miles in, and he says he's never going to go out again. I really would like to talk to him because, I mean, if they wanted him, they could have had him.
There's a
If
guy.
they wanted to catch him, they could have had him. I mean, if these things are standing up and he can see their eyes 9 feet up in the air in this treehouse thing, yeah, I mean, they just wanted him out of there.
Yeah. Well, see, there's a guy up north. He doesn't like anybody to know that he does this. He's a recluse. He studies the vocalizations they do and trying to pull out some kind of language. He's been doing this for years. He's pulled out a few bits and pieces of things that the sounds they make that he considers a language. You know, language is a language in any language is simply based. It's all about audibles and tones. Whether you can understand somebody.
I believe that it's some sort of form of communication. You're right.
And I'm talking about even cats and dogs, the growls and stuff they do. If you know what to look for, you can just about tell what kind of mood a dog's in. Cats always give off an alarm right before, if they're startled, right before they attack. That lets you know, hey, I'm over here. Back the hell off.
Maybe that's we hear a lot of that chatter, but it's always, you can just barely hear it with your naked ear, but it's we can't get it on audio. You know,
it sounds like it's miles away.
Yeah, but it's this weird talking, you know, and
it's like a grumble, like a
it's like somebody muttering around like a drunk who got punched in the mouth trying to talk.
Yeah, usually I got a question. When you hear that, do they do tree shakes and stuff like that and beat on trees?
I've only heard it one time in that area that I've been, just once. It's weird.
What we've had happen before is they'll snap a branch, break a branch, like a warning, like, hey, I'm here, you know, like we've been walking down a trail and all of a sudden there'll be this large tree snap, and I guess that's a warning, like, I'm over here, stay away.
It is. You're getting too close, and that's their first, what I call, non-aggressive way. Have you ever had one of these things charge you?
I've been chased and shoved down from behind.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. It sucks.
You can ask D, because you know what I'm talking about. It's like they ramp themselves up right before they do it. It sounds like they're beating on a 55-gallon drum, and usually it's their chest they're beating on in there. They'll they'll reach down and throw stuff up in the air, and just, you know, it's like they're ramping themselves up for the encounter.
Right.
Have you ever seen that?
Mine's like the deep inhales and exhales. Like, it happened really, really fast. It was like,
yeah.
And then I like rushed into that brush, and I looked it right in the eyes, and I didn't move 1 inch.
Yeah.
I mean, it was going to have me either way. I wasn't going to show.
You
know what I mean?
I think what saved you was that female.
Possibly. I mean, I said it from the very first time I went on Facebook after that happened until I built this channel. I do think that they respect courage.
That's a good point. Yeah, our original sighting, and we were both non-believers, me and my research partner, until we were scouting hunting areas and had a run-in with a rather large one. But and we've been back to that same spot dozens of times. But there's a big fallen tree back there. We would leave apples and candy bars on, Snickers bars, and we can walk right up to it, stand there. But every time we tried to roll over the top of the tree, we'd get grunted and huffed at, you know. You know, as soon as we tried to get over the tree, we could stand there, but as soon as we tried to go over it, they'd start making, from the brush, they'd start making noise. You know?
That's because you've made a dinner table for them, and if you leave that to go any way other than the way you came, that means you're not going to leave them. You're not going to leave them their treats.
Okay. Yeah.
Possibly.
Think about it. A lot of people get on to people for habituating, and that's what you've done, especially with the candy bars. You're gonna give them candy. You're gonna give them cavities.
Well, I've hidden jars of peanut butter inside like rotted out stumps, you know, down like two feet, you know, just smeared a little bit of peanut butter on it and then stuck it down in the stump and come back and the lid's on the ground, the jar's gone, you know. And I know it wasn't a bear because a bear would have had to rip the stump apart to get to it. So you had to stick your hand down in there to physically grab it.
Like I said, I don't get on anybody for trying something. To me, of habituating a site, and like I said, this is what this is about tonight, is learning and talking about the hoaxes. Everybody don't have the same opinion. I don't like habituating a site because when you come in, they automatically think of you as food. You're going to leave them something tasty to eat. Well, if you don't leave them something tasty, they get upset or whatever. They're going to come get it. Have you ever took sweet feed out there?
No.
Well, you want some reaction? You can pour sweet feed on the ground and they'll eat the fucking dirt. Sweet feed is like crack to them suckers. The only thing they like better than that is bacon. And D can tell you that bacon makes them act crazier than hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mark, I haven't got a chance to talk to you about that. Like, the only time I camped out is when the Searching for Bigfoot crew was down. They were investigating that Texas site with the treehouse, actually. They're the ones that discovered it. And I was camping out in my area. First time I go in there, because I know that alpha male's in there, but I think all the big ones are over there on their side watching them. But I started cooking some bacon. We were there for a good while. You know, we heard movements and all that stuff. But as soon as I started cooking that bacon, like, and the smell got in the air, these things started, like, it was weird. They weren't trying to be discreet. They didn't care about it anymore. You could hear their feet dragging through the brush and stuff. And
I'm telling you,
I hadn't felt uncomfortable in there in a very long time. And it wasn't like they were being aggressive or anything. I just didn't feel comfortable the way they were moving and acting.
No, because it makes them don't care. It's like they don't care anymore. It's like, you know, they there's no fear. There's no care about what you're doing. They get so entranced by that. I don't know what it is about that smell, but they act crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're not afraid of me, you know, because, you know, then I'm not afraid of them. It's like a mutual. There's no way they'd let me walk up to those nests if they felt any kind of threat from me. But the thing is, like,
I think
even as long as I've been in there, yeah, but they're not walking up and, you know, shaking my hand or anything either, though. They'll peek and they'll let me see them, like that last video I put out. I saw one stand up on the side of the road and I stopped, like, you know, a dead stop, locked the brakes. And I seen it hunker down, so I just pulled in there and waited. You can hear me huffing and puffing through the whole thing because I thought it was going to stand up and walk away. And of course, I didn't see, like, how many there were just right there either.
Well, I said, I think you've been out there so many times and so much, and you've never done anything for aggression towards them. You've never tried to disturb you've observed their habitat. You haven't disturbed it. You know what I mean? You don't go in there poking or taking a stick, poking around in their nest, or
hell no. That'd be nuts.
Or if you see a stick structure they've made, you don't go over there and try to take, you know, messing with it, trying to take it apart.
Exactly.
And I think they're smart enough. I think they realize you don't mean them any harm, but you're funny to watch, I'd say, because humans in the wild are clumsy as shit. You think of how much noise you make, and you think you're being so quiet.
Sure. Well, who would see like a stick or a long straight tree limb placed in between two branches and would sit and stare at it? Look at where it's pointing at. You know, look around it. You know, look between the branches. That's their stuff. And somebody who would, you know, casually walk by and wouldn't think twice about it. You got somebody out there that's like you said, observing it. They're watching you from the time your foot hits the first blade of grass going into that forest. I wholeheartedly believe. I know that.
Told you. I know for a fact the ones that out there at Property X where I've been. I said I go in several different vehicles. Try to, and they just about learned every one of the. They can learn your sound of your vehicle and hear it miles off. And if you go to a certain spot all the time, they'll meet you there. And
absolutely. If I go by myself, they'll meet me right at the entrance.
Yeah, sometimes they may be in a good mood, and sometimes they won't, and they'll let you know if you pay attention.
Absolutely.
You know, they'll let you know, hey, look, today ain't today to come fucking with us. And I don't know if that's because maybe they've got something going on. They may be trying to hunt or something else may be in that area, because I haven't had any good experiences with a dog man. You have some calm experiences with one, or some, I'd say.
Yeah, very passive. I mean,
Yeah, and see, I don't. A lot of people think all these things get along. I just have a hard time believing that, because if you put two alpha, I don't care what species, you put two alpha males in a room, eventually they're gonna fight.
But the one that's in that one that I've never seen with the naked eye, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of them were in that area. I mean, I think that they're allowed to be there. You know what I'm saying? I think the Squatch far outnumber whatever dogmen that are in there.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I do think there's way more Squatches than there are dogmen.
For sure.
And like I said, I just have a hard time believing these predators can sustain each other in their habitat for any lengths of time. I think it may be like, all right, you know, we'll let you come, eat, drink, and move the hell along, or we'll move you along. And I think that's why some areas that Bigfoot are more migratory than others, and then you got some that I don't care what time of the year you go out there, day, night, whatever. If you know what to look for, you'll find them.
Exactly. I mean, if they allow you to, I still say that. I mean, whatever takes place out there, more or less, is because they want it to.
Oh yeah. What I'm talking about is learning to read the sign that these things leave, regardless if they're trying or not trying, because anytime you go into an area, you disturb that area. Anytime. I don't care what it is. If you introduce a mouse to an acre of ground that didn't have no mice on it, you'll be able to, in a couple of days, see that mouse's habits, where it's going, where it's not going, find its little hidey holes, if you know what to look for.
And going back to your original point, with all that and investing so much time out there and actually learning as best we can the habits and all, and I say that, but you will never stop learning. I don't think with this creature, and it takes.
No.
I think I told you that we all, anybody who investigates these things in the field, boots on the ground, has a half a piece of a million-piece puzzle.
Yep, and I want to add something to that. I believe, and see, I personally learn something just about every time I go out. If you don't learn something when you go out there, either you didn't stay long enough or you wasn't paying good enough attention.
Right. It's never dull.
No, and these people that want to try pulling these hoaxes on people like me, you, or other guests, if you've spent your time, put your homework in, you can just about spot a fake real freaking quick. I'm talking, they got to be really, really, really good, because there's nothing else out there in these woods. That's what I try to tell people. That it's got to be Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to label a name on it. It's got to be, because nothing else leaves the sign that these creatures do when they come through an area.
What very little they do leave. I mean, unless you're going in the deep brush. Like Mark showed me text me a picture of a pretty awesome nest. I mean, it's one of the biggest I've seen. You say it was like 20 feet or something when you like crawled in there.
Yeah, my buddy, we didn't crawl in there. My buddy looked in. It goes back in like 20 feet, and it's probably 8 or 9 feet wide, and it's a bunch of busted branches and ripped up ferns out of the ground. They're laid in there flat like a bed, and they're all flattened out.
Now, when you after y'all crawled up in there, basically you disturbed this nest. Have y'all been chased out after that, or
there was one watching them?
Yeah, I sent D some frames of the video, and I wear a camera on my head and one on my back, and about 60 feet away, he was standing up on a busted tree, hiding behind some other trees, and then he'd stick his head out, and he had a real pissed off look at him, and then he would duck back in. And I sent D some frames of that, and then that's back on an old logging road, and so we parked the truck there that night. We camped there, slept there in the truck that night, and they had came up to the truck and left some footprints, and then they ate some apples I had in the bed of the truck, and then he left a giant handprint on the side window, the driver's door window. And then the following morning, when we walked away from the truck to go research, and we left the doors open on the truck, and we left cameras pointed out each door. And when we walked away, my backpack camera caught him behind a tree just 30 feet away from us. It's pretty.
He wasn't happy. I mean, that's an awesome picture. But that's a testament to their cognitive thinking, that their governance over their own emotions. Oh, well, they're the Nephilim. They're evil. They'll do this. They'll do that. Let me tell you something. If I came home and somebody was crawling around in my bed that I didn't know, I wouldn't just sit there and look at them and frown. So, I mean, especially if I was 8-9 feet tall, made of muscle.
I know what these is, but I'm gonna ask this question anyway. What are y'all's thoughts on killing one of these?
Only in self-defense.
D, what's yours?
I mean, you know mine. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary. No, I'm adamantly against it. Actually.
All right, I'm gonna give my 2 cents now. I'm with both of y'all. I believe the only way you should try to harm one of these creatures is if there's no other way possible. You think you're fixing to die, you're fixing to be hurt, because killing one is not going to help. That's what I keep telling people. Right. If you kill one, I've brought this out before. A lot of people don't understand. Even the stuff that we've done now, the small little minuscule research that we've done, we're actually breaking the law. And if you kill one of these creatures, you're not going to be famous. You're not going to get to, we can prove it now, because no one else is going to ever see that. No one else is going to ever hear of it, because the government is not ready, or the powers to be, whatever you want to call it, ready for that. How many people do you think would actually go back in the woods if tomorrow morning someone from the government or whoever came on TV and said, okay, we have proof, undisputable proof, that these creatures are out in the woods, maybe
every national park,
maybe more than likely in your area right now, probably right outside your house right now? How many people would go back in the woods?
Probably not
many. Yeah. And not so much that, like, to kill it even for science that say, oh, well, we can study so much and learn about its anatomy and this, that, and the other thing. You'll learn more about a natural creature by observing it in its environment. I mean, I'm a history guy. I'm no science whiz. Well, but I know that, you know.
Well, to me, it makes about as much sense as, all right, we want to know what the Canadians are doing right next door to us. So we should go over and shoot one of them too, so we can learn more.
And, you know, you can learn the anatomy and all that stuff, the biology of a creature, I guess. But, like,
but they're so.
What about what it does, like, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day? How it hunts, how it thinks, its reactions to certain things, small things like that would be irrelevant to us, but may be important to them. You want to learn all that from a body.
Yeah, well, and I don't believe actually one body. If you're going to kill one, you're going to have to kill a bunch of them, because people don't realize these things are just as diverse. I can't talk tonight, as humans, because there's different kinds. I've seen way different kinds, a whole bunch of them. You got some up down in the south that are short or smaller, and sometimes they have a different kind of disposition. It's not as aggressive as some of the other ones. Then you got some that look like what I call the patty. Then you got some that just look like they're patty with Down syndrome. Now those some bitches are mean. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they don't like the way they look or whatever, but them some bitches are mean.
Yeah, I think that's the first one I saw. I think that was the type, the kind of the return.
Hey, and if you, I don't know where you are, but if you're up north, the further north you get, the bigger they get, and the more damn pissed off they get.
Yeah, I'm up in Washington State.
Well, you got some big mean bitches up there, I'm telling you.
Yeah, the one, our first encounter, like I said, we were scouting hunting areas and had a run-in with him. We went down to where he was standing, and he was standing behind some brush staring at us. And the impressions he left in the moss on the fourth floor were like 21 inches. And then where he had to clear to be looking at us, he had to be around 10 foot tall.
Well, I don't know how big of one you've ever seen. The biggest one I've ever had any kind of working with, I would say, was up in Alaska. And that son gun, his head was above a limb that afterwards we measured, and the limb was 14 feet from the bottom of the limb to the ground.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
And his head was
That's
above
crazy.
that.
You think they get that big up there because of the cold or because of the abundant food?
I think it's because of what they're eating. And think about it. You think of,
maybe both. You know, thicker hide. You know, in that environment.
Well, think of what they've got to fight. What the land and stuff, and the other animals in the area. One that's down in Florida, the smaller ones, I don't think could take on a grizzly bear by itself. Now, them some bitches up there that's 10 and 12 feet tall, I don't think would have a problem with a grizzly bear or a Kodiak. You think about something that's 14 foot tall, that's almost 5 foot wide at the shoulders or wider. It can. I've come across bears with their necks broke. What else is going to break a damn bear's neck?
Yeah.
That reminds me that Texas site where they call the hunting ground. There was, and I must have passed right by, but this researcher who contacted that hunter that abandoned that, whole site, there was a 280-something pound boar back there that with its neck, its back leg was just like a piece of spaghetti, and its back was broken and its neck was broken. Something grabbed this 280-pound pig by the back leg and swung it up against a tree, breaking its back and its neck.
I haven't got to see that, but I
didn't get to film that. I don't know how I didn't see it or smell it, but how powerful, how big does something have to be to do that?
Pretty damn big, because, man, I haven't got to personally see that, but I've been in the woods and heard a pig go to screaming and yelling, and you hear whack, and you don't hear no pig no more. You don't find no pig either.
That's what's amazing. Like even Mark laying in his bed,
and
it watching from, what was that, 30 yards away?
And personally, I'd rather run up on a bear than a freaking wild boar any day.
I hate pigs.
Them some bitches are mean and nasty.
I hate them. They're nuisance.
Bad. I'm talking about they will. If they got a clear path to run, I've seen them just decide to stand their ground and charge. I've seen one knock itself out twice, running into the side of a freaking vehicle, just charging it. Bam! It hit the ground and make a couple weird noises, get up, walk around a little bit, and here it comes again.
Lord forbid if some piglets are around.
Oh, and let one start squealing because you've done heard it. I've seen them with my own eyes when I was hunting, shoot one, the whole little herd or whatever you want to call it, turn on that one, and then start actively looking for what killed it. It's like I said, I would rather run up on a bear. A bear, most of the time, it don't like being around humans. Brown bears, Kodiaks, unless it's a sow maybe or a grumpy ass male, they'll posture, whatever. They don't. Animals in the wild don't actually want to have a physical encounter because more than likely both animals are going to die. They posture. They try to bluff. I call it the bluff.
Right.
Try to bluff the other animal in. All right, if you come over here, I'm going to hurt you. It's going to be a fight, but neither one of them actually want to fight.
And imagine something like that with cognitive thinking somewhere to the level of a human being where it can make rational decisions, organize more of its own kind in a militaristic fashion.
And this is my thing. The other thing I want to get back to the hoax thing. People don't understand. They're out there doing all these crazy hoaxes and stuff. What if you actually go out to do a hoax and you get in one of these summit's area? You went out there thinking it was fun, games, and playing. Now you've created a problem for yourself. Because if you're knocking on trees, if you're making mock nest or whatever, to me, I would think you're moving into my area. You think a Bigfoot's just going to give up his area willy-nilly?
And I don't do the tree knocks because I think they can tell. I've never seen anybody can replicate it with the intensity that I've heard.
I can get close, but I don't do it because I think that's a form of them signaling a hunt. and I don't want something that's already fucking hungry. Oh yeah, it's lunchtime, and they come down there and find me.
Well,
I don't think we can trick them.
Yeah, well, let me ask you something. Sometimes when we arrive at one of our research spots, as soon as we get out of the vehicle, open the door, there'll either be one whoop or one tree knock. I think that's just a signal.
That's a sensory.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of
they use sensories. I've actually had the misfortune, whatever the hell you want to call it, accidentally sneak up on one of them damn things, and that's not good either. You don't want to startle.
Snuck up on one of the sentries?
Yes, sir. And that was not well. When I say snuck up, I was probably 100 yards away from him. But that's
I got you. I thought you like came upon one. I was about to say
no. To me, getting within 100 yards of one before it sounds an alarm. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And like I said, they don't like being surprised. I can tell you that from personal experience. That is not fun, because if you scare them, they're gonna damn sure try to do the same thing to you.
Do you wear a firearm for protection out there?
Yes, sir. I carry multiple guns, but I don't carry them for so much the Bigfoot. I've had a problem with poachers running up on steel sites. You want something bad to deal with? Run up on a damn redneck when he's cooking his damn alcohol and mess with him. I've run across illegal grow fields. I've run across meth labs. Like I said, I carry the firearms for the humans, not for the unknown cryptids.
Right.
Unless it was absolutely necessary, no, I would not shoot one. I'm a firm believer, and me and D was talking to this the other night. There's a difference in a hunter that is a sportsman. A true hunter is out there to feed himself and maybe his family. A sportsman is just shooting shit just to say, "Oh, I killed this, I killed that." I hate that.
Yeah, it's you go in their houses, there's all this stuffed animals. Oh, I got this over in Africa. This almost extinct animal. Yeah, that's real impressive, guy.
Yeah, what is the purpose of it?
Kill one with a spear like the Zulu do when they make their like passage into manhood. That I'd be impressed with that.
Yeah, go out there and get with a spear and play with a pride of lions. Yeah, then we can talk.
That's a taxidermy I'd check out and admire. You know, I'll kill this with a spear. You're awesome.
He took my hand, but I got him. But let's let our guest tell some of the stuff he's been doing, some of the research he's been coming across, because I love hearing from new researchers that I've not got to talk to, because like I said, I learn something all the time. I've learned stuff from you. You've learned stuff from me, and I've been fooling around with this. I wouldn't say fooling around with them, but since I was around 14, 15 years old, I've known about these creatures. My biggest thing till I was, I'm going to say a man, 17, 18, I tried to avoid them because that's what I was taught.
Yeah. Like I said, I was a non-believer, and so was my friend and a coworker. He was an avid hunter, and so we went scouting hunting areas a couple hours east of where I live, out deep in the Cascades on the logging roads. And
St. D fell off his chair.
No, well, that wasn't me.
Lakea, was that you?
And
no, sir.
So no, it wasn't me. So we were out there. It was like 2 PM. We took a break, and we had our a run-in with a rather large one, and went down there and found where he was standing at, saw his tracks, and then we followed him around this tree, and he had been gathering food. He had been gathering mushrooms and slugs and snails, and they were in big piles. And that kind of started it. We went back the following week with a retired fish and game wildlife veterinarian, and we just heard some strange chatter that time. And then we kept visiting the same area every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday. And one thing we tried to do to figure out if they were in the area is we would take a Sony handy camera, and we would take like a soft lunch case bag and cut a hole in it for the lens, and we would put the camera in there. We'd leave it on the dash in my buddy's pickup truck, and then walk away and go you know, see if we could find evidence. And we'd be like, man, there's nothing here. We didn't find any prints, any tree breaks, nothing. He's gone. They're not here. And then we'd go home and watch the video, and they'd be throwing rocks and sticks at his truck. Mostly rocks, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd see the rocks actually fly out of the woods and hit his windshield, or you'd hear booms on the truck, and there'd be dings all over his pickup truck, you know. But so.
Have you got to have a up close personal encounter? I'm talking about not through a camera, but you know, with your naked eye.
Yeah, I had John Bindernagel from Canada, the wildlife biologist. I'm sure you know who he is.
I've heard of it.
He came down and spent a couple of days with me out there, and at the end of the second day, he said he gave me a game camera, and he said, "Hey, I want you to go out here and hang this where you think you could get something." And I told him, I said, "John, you know, at this point, I'd already been at it for 6 months, so I'd learned quite a bit." And I said, "John, I don't think game cameras are going to work." And he says, "Well, I'm going to give it to you. Go hang it anyway." So I did. I tried to get my buddy to go with me. He was busy, had stuff going on. I couldn't get anybody else to go with me, and I don't like going out there by myself. So on a whim, just on a Monday morning, I put it in my backpack. I bought a water, and I grabbed a sidearm, and I went out there and parked my truck, and I walked in about a half a mile, and well, actually, it was about a mile. And I thought, okay, I'm going to hang it back here where I've been finding footprints and getting audio, and I've been leaving apples and candy bars for them. I'm just going to walk back in here about 100 feet and hang it. So I step into the woods, and I get in about 20 feet, and I looking down because there's thick moss and broken branches everywhere, and I had to step over a small fallen tree, and I see movement up in front of me. So I look up, and 15 feet in front of me, an older juvenile stepped out from a tree, and then to my right, a smaller juvenile stepped out from a tree. And the whole encounter lasted about 30 seconds. I ended up taking a couple steps back, and the bigger one he was about 6'3". He wasn't a full-grown one. He was probably an older teenager, and growled at me. So I turned and ran, which I think was my first mistake. And he ended up chasing me to the edge of the road, and as soon as I hit the edge of the road, he shoved me down from behind.
Yeah, running is never advised because that triggers their hunt instinct.
Yeah, and I did, you know, I thought when he shoved me down, I ended up on the other side of the road on my left side, and I had my backpack on, so I was trying to roll over to my right, and I could see him out of the corner of my eye over my right shoulder. So I had a 44 mag revolver, and I unsnapped the holster, and I started to pull it out, but then because I thought I was gonna have to defend myself, you know, and he walked past me and walked right back in the woods, and like he didn't have a care in the world, didn't look back at me, nothing, you know.
I think what he was it male or female?
It was a male.
Yeah, and so I still think people are. What do you think it would? If you ever see a male, especially a full-grown male, there's no doubt that it's a male because just as prominent as the female's breasts are, so is the male's business end.
Yeah.
There's no doubt when it's a male or a female. I think what happened was you come up on two of the smaller ones, and that was that one you had the encounter with that pushed you down. That was their protector. That was the one that was watching over them, and you got a little too close that he didn't like as close as you got to the little ones.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah. Well, I know that I've been to that spot numerous times, and I would take a little camera. It's called a VHO Movie Pro, and it's the size of your thumb, and I'd clip it on a tree branch and set some apples and candy bars down, and they would never step in front of the camera to get the food. The camera is just, it doesn't have infrared or anything. They would never step in front of it, but you would get tree breaks and rock tapping and all kinds of stuff. Well then, so I thought, okay, I'm going to turn the camera away from the food. So I turned the camera away from the food. I'd come back and there's footprints on the ground and the food's gone. So then I'd do it again. The next week I'd come back, I'd point the camera at the food. It would never step in front of the lens. I mean, there's something about a camera lens.
They can see
giving off light, or that looks like an eyeball.
Yeah.
This camera is it's a spy camera. It's really small. You know, how do they? You know, I mean, let's say see me hang it. So I'd been to that spot numerous times and left food. So, but then I thought that day I'll walk in. I'll be real quiet and walk in. They knew I was there. They were waiting for the apples and candy bars that I leave all the time in that same spot. They were waiting. You know.
I told you, once you habituate a place, they realize that, and once they hear you know you're in the woods, they go to where that area where you've been leaving them stuff, because they know before you leave.
I don't know. Like what Mark told me before when he first told me the story. I think it's, you know, when you were leaving it out there, that's all well and fine. You're on that man-made concrete stuff, but that's where you stay. You know, like, and when you got to the road, you said that's when he hit you, and then he just went on about his business. That I think that was him saying, you know, you're all right, but you're not that all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
don't
it's
come
like,
in.
hey, you cross the line, stay on your side.
right.
Yeah.
And just like that teenager, or the one I call the teenager, you know, full of testosterone, wanting to push his limits. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's respect or whatever the case may be, maybe he don't like that I got the attention that I did, or that I wasn't scared away like most people are. And, you know, I mean, he tried to test me or whatever. And I mean,
see, the younger ones and the really, really big, what I call the lone alpha males, those are the ones I've always had a problem with. I ain't never really had a problem with any females. Just fucking delinquents. They like to fuck with your
delinquents.
Yeah. They'll ransack your shit at your campsite, and like I said, they're like little delinquents.
Yeah. You ever have them mess with your tent site at night and like charge your tent and play with your tent?
I've had them throw a log on top of my tent.
Wow.
Yeah, I ain't talking about no stick. I'm talking about a freaking damn 10-inch damn 12-foot log. Wow. Luckily, it was a double man tent, and I was actually pushed up next to the edge because the night before something had pushed in on the tent, and I wanted to, and I was on the other side, so I wanted to see if it would go to the other side. I was curious if they could somehow see into this tent, because I said, we don't know enough of how their eyes work. You know, what if they can see not I wouldn't say heat vision, but what if there's something about humans that gives off something that they can see? Yeah, even through a tent or something.
I think they can see astonishingly well, and
I know they can. I know they can see astonishingly well. Daylight or dark, and they can hear like nobody's business.
Yeah, like I was saying before, game cameras, I don't think will work at all.
They can see that infrared. I'm like you.
Yeah, when we first got into this, maybe we'd been into it maybe less than a month. We hung a game camera way back in there, several hundred yards, and we hung it on a tree. We came back, I think 3 weeks later, and something had taken a big busted tree log, probably weighed 250 pounds, and leaned it up above the camera. And they were real careful about not damaging the camera, but blocking the camera's view. And so we pushed the log over, and we grabbed the camera. We put new batteries in it, took the memory card, and we moved the camera away another 200 or 300 yards in a different direction. And we went home and looked at the card. There was nothing on the card. I mean, nothing. No video or picture of capturing what put the log in front of it. So we went back and recovered the camera again several weeks later. That same log, 200 or 300 yards away through the woods, was placed in front of that camera again. The same log. So it's as if they were saying, like, "You're not fooling us. Ha ha ha. The trick's on you. You guys are, I mean, it was just."
Yeah. See, I think they can smell the plastic, because plastic always gives off a scent. You cannot get rid of it, because plastic takes several hundreds of years to degrade, but it always gives off. It's always giving off, especially if it's got that, what is it called, like a BTE or whatever it's called into.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? Thank you, Miss Vamp Lugosi, for being the very first person on this channel to use Super Chat. And she said, "Hey, look, it worked. Hi, Mom."
Thank you, Vamp. Thank you very much.
Y'all spend those $2 wisely.
Well,
Peanut butter for Sasquatches.
hey, wait a minute. That'll probably go back to you. I think that's cheating, isn't it? That's one of my lovely ladies. Like I said, I'm fortunate enough. I don't know if it's fortune or what, but I have two ladies that boss me around now.
Yes, I just don't think game cameras will, like you said, the plastic or the lens or
I think I think the plastic is always giving off a smell.
I think it's a combination of all of it. Anything unnatural out there, they're going to hone in on.
Oh yeah, because that's their environment. You can't.
Yeah, they know what doesn't belong and what's man-made and artificial. They live in a all natural environment.
If somebody comes in and puts something new in your living room and that's where you sit at all the time, you're going to notice it.
Sure.
Right off the bat.
You know, we're talking about game cams. Like, it's been over a month now. It's December 31st. Going back to that hunter down there at the river on the Texas side. It's been since December 31st since he, was ran out of there. That game cam's sitting in that treehouse. If he put that treehouse together and he was there, like he said, for an entire 2 days until he started actively hunting, and that's when the stuff started happening. I don't see him not putting up that game, you know what I mean? That camera. Maybe when, since they took the bullets out of that bag, could they have taken that camera down and thrown it in there? Because I'm going to go back and I'm going to take a week off actually next week from the live streams and focus on the field. I'm going to go back to that area and I'm going to retrieve all that stuff and I'm going to take it to that gentleman.
It'd be curious to see what was on the damn SD card in that game camera.
Yes, sir.
Because if you take a game camera, if it's set on video and you pick that camera up and move it, it starts videoing and it videos until that camera stays motionless for a certain amount of time.
Absolutely. And I mean, I just don't understand if he was in there 2 days and, he had just started actively hunting, after that 2 days or, that night, why would he not have put up his game cam?
Not just that. There's something else odd that bothers me about this. All right, he was in there for 2 days, and as soon as he started actively hunting, he calls it, then that's when they run him out. Why didn't they run him out before? Because he had to be making tons of freaking noise building that thing.
I think they were watching him, seeing what he was doing.
And then when they figured out that he was, he's hunting.
Exactly. When I think that they saw him looking at the same tracks that they look at, or what I mean, whatever the case may be, but they somehow realize with the gun or whatever the case may be, what he was in there to do, and they weren't having it. If you see this video, I mean, I want you to show me another one that has this many tree breaks because it's astonishing. And to be in there and walk around, it looks like a tornado touched down right there and then went back up in the sky.
Yeah, it does.
It's nuts, man.
And see, that's the other thing people screw up on these fake tree breaks. If you got 7 or 8 damn trees right around it, and there's just one right up in the middle of it that's been broke over, wind don't do that.
Yeah.
Now if there's a tree out by itself, I can't say that, but you got 5 or 6 trees right there. I'm talking about almost touching, and then one of them's the only one right in the center of them is broke over, and no, you ain't telling me that's natural.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm sorry.
And the other thing is, like I said, these jackasses didn't even pick the right freaking kind of tree. I've seen them break pine trees and stuff, but 90% of the time they either use gum or some kind of hardwood.
I mean, I don't know what types of trees. I like when you talk about how it was broken way down there on the bottom is what got me. How there was no stress.
The first thing.
Stress fractures. I mean, that's 8 red flags. The sawdust on the ground.
And then the tracks, like I said, you remember me? That's the one thing that keyed me in. I had a problem with the tracks when I decided just to go ahead and go to it because the tracks didn't make any sense to me from what I know I've seen out of Bigfoot, Dogman, other things that ain't supposed to exist. The tracks did not make any sense. Me and D talked about that for probably 2-3 hours. D went back and started looking for it. I started looking for it again. You can't find anything. The only thing that resembled or come close to it was the tracks from the Honey Island Swamp.
Yeah, was it Harlan Ford?
Yep. but his didn't have the claws. His just had the odd three toes. These had giant freaking claw marks right in front of them, and they were pointed.
You know, with the Honey Island monster thing, I do believe that one guy hoaxed those tracks with the three toes, but I honestly do believe Harlan Ford saw what he saw. I think he saw a Sasquatch, and at the same time, to generate publicity for himself, I forget the guy's name, but he made those tracks. MK Davis and somebody else made a little documentary on it because one of the shoes had washed up on shore, and they found the guy's son, and he actually had the other shoe and told him the story like, yeah, my dad hoaxed this. But I do believe that Mr. Ford's on there. He was honest. Well, you know, he didn't care. You know, he's an old school country boy. Like, I don't care who believes me and who don't. I know what I saw, and I'm telling you. So goodbye.
Yeah. Well, the thing that was on that video that they showed that he supposedly shot moved. I'm gonna say this. It moved like a squatch to me.
I think it was real.
Yeah. And if anybody's ever seen one of these creatures go through the woods, there's nothing else like it in the freaking world. It almost looks like they're fucking floating. Yeah. Because their head never fucking moves, change. It doesn't go up and down like a human's. Their shoulders never bobble.
Like I think they use their body more efficiently than we use ours. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, I don't.
Well, I've seen these things take off from a dead still to a wide open sprint. They take two steps and they're at full fucking speed. It looks like. And they don't make any freaking, well, they make noise, but you'd think something weighs 800 pounds plus. It's going to sound like a bowling ball every time it drops its foot down to make a step. But these things will sound like a squirrel scurrying around in the freaking leaves.
Yeah, and that's nuts.
We have had 2 more donations from Super Chat. Paul donated $2 the first time. He said, your mom said hi back, Vamp. And he donated another $2 and says, Vault rocks.
Oh, thank you. I think I think my family and loyal listeners rock, because without y'all, it'd just be a bunch of people sitting in a room, which we talk anyway. It didn't matter. That's just me. And I'm bound and damn determined. Me and D are going to hook up, and we're going to go on a damn investigation. Can you imagine both of us out on a damn investigation? One or two things are going to happen. We're going to find some cool ass shit, or we're going to fuck up some shit.
Both would be pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
You know, and somewhere in between, like
I don't care if I got to come all the way there. Like I said, I'm fixing to get ready to go do a little.
Come on,
do a little excursions. But getting back though to my topic on here, there's something else I want to address. When you go out into the woods, the field, whatever you want to call it, when you leave it in the same shape or better than when you went. Stop throwing all your fucking trash down out there. Stop leaving fucking computer screens and old batteries and shit. Quit the shit.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, I was going into my area. I wasn't even paying attention because I make that drive right where I park my vehicle. Like I said, ran over a busted computer screen that somebody took out there and was shooting up. Yeah, and see, people don't realize all the toxins that's in that shit. It's disgraceful.
That's the reason why you can't just throw it into a fucking landfill, because it has toxins that get into the ground, your water supplies. You know, you may not be drinking that water out there. Something's drinking that water, and you know, we're gonna start having Bigfoot with fucking toes and fingers on his forehead.
That's where the 3 toes comes from.
Well, I'm just saying, you know,
you're right. I mean, the stuff that harms us. Imagine what it does to them that live in a completely natural world. We live in an artificial environment.
All right, let's just say we got, out of how many people we got in here tonight? I ain't even.
We were up to 80 something. Now we're down to 62 because it's, you know,
it fluctuates. But
it started later. Yeah, it started later than what we wanted, and it didn't get advertised like we wanted.
Yeah, well, we'll say 15 out of the 60 are true hunters, not sportsmen. Because like I said, there's a difference, and I don't like sportsmen. True hunters, you know, if you keep going out there leaving your old batteries, your dirt, all the trash and stuff, you're going to stay in that area because you're polluting it. You're killing their environment. So now you've got to go somewhere else, and you're going to trash it. You're going to eventually run out of places.
Absolutely. Imagine what it does to them.
Well, think about an old battery. What's in a battery to start with? There's a lot of heavy metals. And I think that gets in the ground supply. Heavy metals is one of the worst things that wildlife of any kind, humans, animals, whatever you want to call it, it makes them infertile. So let's say you got 30 deer on 1 acre, and out of those 30 deer, 6 of them get infertile. How many do you think you're gonna take during the hunting season? Another 3 more? Look what the herd's down to just out of 1 year. You keep doing that, and eventually you're gonna get down to nothing. Because if enough deer get infertile, the species dies.
Yes, indeed.
But
We have another super chat donation from the Night Companion.
Oh, thank
He
you.
donated $5. Thank you. And he says, I am forever immortalized. The night companionship begins.
Hey, I like that. I like that. Hey, send me an email so we can get to talking back and forth. We may do some work together. D has got a bunch of horror. He just started a whole little thing with horror narrators. So y'all don't forget, if you want to be part of his stuff, go over, like, subscribe his channel, and don't forget y'all tick that little bell.
Yeah, and then on the Vault of Nightmares as well. Like a lot of people, they're saying they're not getting notifications on the channel.
They gotta hit that little bell.
As I said, the guest narration portion. Sorry, Lakeia, but speaking of Lakeia, she will be one of our chapters in the Cryptid Files with True Encounters with our guest narrators, and we're very, very happy and excited for that. And I want to give it away because it's one of my favorite cryptids that I've never investigated in the field, and I couldn't if I wanted to. I think you guys are going to like it as well.
Well, see, that's like I can't do the stuff Lakeia does. I can't stand and sit there that long, but I believe Lakeia worked for the NSA at one time, because all you got to do is give her part of a name, and she will tell you your whole fucking childhood history.
Well, I have my gifts. That's about it. They're few and far between, though.
I'll stick to picking my teeth with pine cones and stuff. What the hell? Y'all freaked me out.
That might be me. I was gonna say that might have been me.
Miss Vamp, you've been awful quiet.
Both the ladies have.
I think all the men took over. Vamp,
well,
are you still there?
Sitting back listening to y'all three. I enjoyed it very much so.
Well, like I said, and this is the first time I think, D, we've actually got on a topic and stayed on a topic.
It's outstanding.
Yeah, we're doing good, y'all. Give us 30 minutes.
What part of the country is your research area? Where do you live?
I kind of keep that hidden. I'm somewhere in the United States.
All right.
You can't tell by the accent he's a Yankee.
Hey.
Yeah.
I would like to say, though, I have been trying to drop everybody's channel in chat that I could, but if there's anybody in the chat that would like a link to one of the gentlemen's channel on the panel, or to Vamp's or to mine, just let us know and we'll be able to drop them in chat for you.
Did you get all our guest stuff dropped?
I sure did. Every single one.
Have you had a chance to meet our guest? He sounds like he's really smart and really informed. I'm glad that D brought him with him.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely.
I mean, you asked me to find good investigators. I mean, he's at the top of the list in my opinion.
Well, it sounds like he knows his stuff. But
do you have any dogs, man, that you've encountered in your area?
Not in this area here. I've had a couple of dogman encounters and they wasn't nice. I've learned, let's put it this way, after 2 encounters, that's all it took for me to realize you don't fuck with them things. Not the way I was doing it anyway.
Yeah. In our research area, we kept finding these, we were finding Bigfoot prints, but we'd also find these prints, and we found some with that retired fish and game veterinarian too. They were about 12, 13 inches long, and they were kind of looked like a giant bird track, but they had like 4 toes, and you could tell they had claws, but they were V-shaped. Bigfoot has a fat, round heel. These were more like a big V,
I was just fixing to ask you the way I described it. It looks like it almost looks like a duck foot, but the front of it's different.
Yeah, it had you could tell. Foot. Yeah, we could only make out 4 toes, but it looked like it had claws on those toes.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something, dude. You need to be careful and watch that one right there. That particular kind. The idiot that named this particular kind calls it a type 2. Those are really freaking aggressive, and they are very, very. You think Bigfoot's smart? You ain't seen shit. This is Albert Einstein of the cryptics.
I sent Dee a frame of video of a dog man, and I was about 60 feet from it. You remember that frame I sent you, Dee, with the black snout and the brown hair and the ears?
It was legit. It was a good shot.
Well, I said
so they're but see that dog man was only 6 feet from a Bigfoot. I mean, they're together.
And that's the same in my area. Like I believe that the Sasquatch outnumber these dogmen greatly, and it's just, I described it a long time ago, not a long time ago, like on every stream until recently. Just like the hippos and the alligators in Africa, they're the 2 top tier predators. They share a small confined space, so it would do neither one of them any good to be in any kind of conflict. And I was getting that question for a long time, like, who went out and fight, Bigfoot or Dogman? I don't know, don't care. They inhabit the same area, and it doesn't happen as often as you would think. And that's my opinion on it.
It depends on what. Yes.
Can you mute Vamp and then unmute her and see if that works? She's having a little bit of mic problems, I do believe, all of a sudden. And Paul donated another $2, and he said, remember to hit the like button, everyone. But side note, I'd like to explain Super Chat for a moment. YouTube is taking away a lot of channels' donation buttons, and they're giving channels the option to use Super Chat after you have so many subscribers. And when you enable it, it lets the people in chat be able to donate a small portion and have their comments highlighted so the people on the live stream can read them out loud and see them better than they would getting them lost in the chat. You do not have to donate at all to be in chat and have fun.
No.
But we appreciate every single body that has donated.
Yes. Thank you, because it's going to go to a good cause that has nothing to do with me. Dee can verify that. Like I said, I appreciate that. And that's what I love about the groups that we have of family members that we've built here on these channels. I've never seen a much better, well-rounded group of people. Every once in a while,
all the time.
Yeah, every once in a while, somebody new will come in and try to rock the boat, and the family will get onto it before we even can say something if Lakay don't nuke them first. Vamp, try to unmute yourself or try to go out and come back in and see if that fixes it, because you were doing fine at first.
Yeah, I even suggested unplugging her mic and replugging it, and still no go. So I don't know what it is. She may have to hop back out and hop back in. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, waiting on that. Something you'll like, Lakaya. There's speaking of subscribers and all that kind of good stuff. I won't go into the whole details of it. There was a woman who was discourteous and a very long letter, and I addressed that because I thought it was funny that somebody would be that ignorant. Well, she went from 1 subscriber on her YouTube channel that had no content to 25, all within one stream. People, I know for a fact, people have reached out to her because I want to talk to her and whatnot. And, after addressing that, she copied and pasted the same thing. I think Mark saw it, and there was another person who was using biblical text to be discourteous to my subscribers and the people that, you know, take the time out of their day to learn with me. And yeah, I'd had enough. So I don't know, Mark. I wasn't really listening to myself. I don't know how I handled it, but I think I made my point, right?
Yeah, that sounded real good. Yeah, you did a good job.
Well,
yeah, you're right. I don't go for discourtesy, especially to the people who take the time out to hit the subscribe button and all that stuff. So you guys over here, great. I mean, y'all do great stuff, and y'all have the family behind you pushing you forward, and that's what it takes.
Well, I'm here to say personally, if I catch somebody coming in here doing that to anybody that's in here, especially the loyal listeners, they won't be back again, because I'll make sure of that.
We have another donation from Miss Radlove. She donated $5. She said, "Keep up all the love, Vault family."
Thank you very much. Thank you. Man, this has been one hell of a night so far, y'all. Thank you.
I feel like I'm on a telethon almost. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey,
but I want to make sure I get everybody's comments mentioned, though. I really do. I was not expecting this at all. I forgot you even had super chats enabled, to be honest.
I didn't even know I did. Shit.
I didn't know what that was. Like, I know everything was working right if I didn't press that button, and it popped up. It was new, so I didn't press it. I mean, you know how it goes. I'm lucky just to get things to operate.
Look, I'm always fiddling with something, so I didn't realize I'm always messing around with something. That's part of the reason why my shit don't work half the time.
Did y'all not read the little explanation thing that come with it?
Read, that's like directions. We don't know no damn directions.
Yeah,
never mind. I forgot. I was talking to men. Never mind.
Yeah, every coffee table I put together, you know, I'll make sure I read the instructions, do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
No, that don't happen.
That's the first thing that goes in the garbage with me.
Yeah, that trash that they put in there.
Yeah, because usually it's not in English anyway, and there ain't but so many languages I can read. And then the slot A goes into part B. The only problem is none of it's labeled A and B. I'm like, what the fuck?
I like Legos as a kid, so I get along pretty well.
Yeah, look, if it don't go together the way it's supposed to, I'll make something out of it.
Would anybody from panel care to announce what these funds will be going to, Vault?
And I'm gonna. I don't.
Do you want to do a big separate video for that? That would be awesome.
Yeah, we can, but I don't keep none of the proceeds from this channel, y'all. I don't. That's not why I do it. It's not what I did it for. I had to change up a little bit of the things that I was doing, the way I was doing the proceeds, because of some activities I started. But it goes to help a good cause.
The Night Companion said an M&M jar for me. Thank you, Night, for thinking of me.
No, I'll tell y'all, there's a local little group that it's like I'd say a halfway home or whatever. They take people that are down on their luck, that can't get nothing, you know, they really don't have anybody to help them, and they help them. There's been several people that have left that group now that are successful, have successful jobs and own their own, paying their own stuff. And I like that. It's, you know,
they help them with like their interview outfits and things like that for jobs. And we have been donating, but we've been donating, you know, from our own pocket, from our real life earnings. So I think that, Vault, I think that would be awesome.
Well, sometimes some people just need a little boost. You know, self-confidence, whatever you want to call it. It's, you know, just because somebody's down don't mean they're any less of a person. They just, sometimes life happens.
And if y'all just heard something, I swear I just hit my mic. So that was me. Okay, so any donations donated tonight, I will set this in stone, will be donated to help other people get back on their feet. Period. I will make a update video with the total amount that was donated tonight and let you know that they received it. And then I like the idea actually of some being donated, the next series, being donated to, let's say, maybe a researcher. Because it's hard.
And I was just fixing, see, LaKay is, get out of my damn head. I was just sitting here thinking this right here. Now, D is like me, so he's going to argue with me, but there's something that D needs that will help him in his investigation. I would like to start trying to get people to help him get a few pieces of equipment, mostly like a thermal camera, stuff like that. What do you think about? I know D don't like that idea, but
no, I'll be all right.
See there, I already knew his answer.
I appreciate it wholeheartedly. I honestly do.
Well, it's.
No, I mean, I sincerely do. I mean, that's awesome that you would even suggest it. But you know,
okay. Well, since you won't do that, then we're gonna fund these adventures to go across. Damn it, I'm gonna do one thing or another.
Well, I mean, you have a heart of gold. I admit that.
I don't have a heart. Stop doing that. Oh, good God.
Chris D, he donated $20. Thanks so much for the great topics you always do. Vault Lakea D, love all of your work. Even though I'm a skeptic, I'm glad you were helping people.
Chris D, that's the guy. That's the guy who's a skeptic. I couldn't think of the name. Like, he's a skeptic, but I mean, he's respectful. He wants to know and wants to see. Chris D, you're the guy I was talking about
Absolutely.
on an AM show or something like that yesterday. And I read a message. You've been on there for a long time, and you're the only reason I'm going to go back over my own stuff. And I don't want to circle anything, though, but I mean, maybe I will. But I'll point it out, you know, and I'll show you exactly what's there and how it moves.
Well, I don't mind skeptics because, oh, good God.
No, I don't mind skeptics at all. But I mean, you know, he kind of changed my mind with it. I was just putting it out there. And, you know, I give an explanation if asked, but, you know, I wanted people to see it for themselves. But there are people who want to see who maybe they live in the middle of Chicago and they've only been to a city park.
Lakea,
don't do a disservice if
I'm writing everything down.
Yeah, because it's going so freaking fast over here, I can't keep up with it.
Yes, I am literally over here with the notebook writing everything down.
At the same time. The skeptics, though, I like, and he can call himself a skeptic, but Chris, I'm sorry. Because you're here, you're not a skeptic. You just haven't had the right encounter yet, or a chance to have the right encounter.
And I've seen Chris, I've seen him in our chats for a long time. I mean, he's always in here. He's always engaging. Even though I've seen him sometimes have a difference of opinion, he is always respectful.
Yeah, he does in a respectful way. I mean, he's showing me nothing but respect, and you know.
Yeah, because I've seen him say a lot of, and he sounds like a smart dude. I've heard him say a lot of things in here that make me go back, like you said, D, and think, well, how can I say this a different way, or how can I tell this a different way to maybe get them to understand? Because like I said, until you see one of these creatures, until you see them move, the way they run, the way they do stuff, and the sounds they make, I can tell you all day long.
We have, please don't slaughter me if I slaughter your last name. Angel Van Deventer.
Van Deventer, yeah, that's another.
$20. She says, here you go. Angel, thank you so much for that. We greatly appreciate it, and I swear it is going to a good cause. And I always keep my word.
And I haven't been in chat all night. I'm sorry for that, but I didn't know that there were so many these people every video, no matter what it is, like Angel and Chris. Thank y'all very much. And I know it started later, but you know, life happens. We're regular folks at the end of the day.
Well, I'll tell why actually tonight started later, and that has to do with me. I actually got called out on a rescue recovery for of all things, a dog that was hit, knocked down a ravine, and at first they said that it was unrecoverable, but that dog is now at a vet, hoping that it makes a full recovery. It did sustain a lot of very severe injuries, but I'm hard-headed. If you tell me something can't be done, I'm going to do it if it kills me.
D, the Night Companion, said he would like to donate to you if you ever turn your super chats on.
That's all right.
Hey,
I appreciate it, though. I mean, I really do. But I mean, I don't want to mess with
I'm just reading the comments.
I know. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm ungrateful, because I am.
Hey, well, I got a better idea. I got another idea to get him. Go find you 20 more subscribe people and get them to subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, share his content. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Share his content. It needs to be shared. More people need to see his content.
Thank you for that. Tater Plays is the co-host for Late Show. He laughed at me for 3 days because I was trying to set up the account, and I've been October 16th of 2016. I've yet to set up the Google account to be paid for anything that I've done. So when I say it's not about the money for me, it's like literally not, because I'm not. I lost the paper that they sent me in the mail to get the card so you can be paid for your content that you put out. I mean, I never even really thought about it. I enjoyed doing. I put life on hold as I knew it when I had my experience, and I wanted to share it with everyone.
Well,
all of it is to draw attention to the subject that I love.
I'm not an unsocial person, but most of the time I don't get along with people in real life, up next to people. And this is a good outlet for me. That, and like I said, I like helping people. And to me, getting stuff out there that like this, and like what Dee's doing, showing the videos and stuff, and showing you can go out there and not have these horrible experiences that like a lot of people want to talk about. I've had good, bad, some that were just like, okay, that's different. Experiences where, it's not always all bad. But like I said, now me and the dog man, we don't get along. But it don't help that I was shooting at him. But that's no here nor there, and we ain't gonna talk about that. But like I said, I like the stuff he's putting out, and
I sincerely appreciate that.
Well, like I said, I was gone for a while. Like I said, I caught the Lakeia flu.
No.
And then life's stuff kind of got it. My problem is I start too many freaking projects, and there's not enough hours in a day, even if you don't go to sleep.
Yeah, I know that's right.
I don't care what your intentions are. Because when you start one project, it'll lead you to a direction where you're like, oh, it'll give you another idea, and you start that one, and I'm gonna finish this one and this one, and next thing you know, you're like, what the hell was I doing?
Vamp said it won't let her back into Hangouts for some reason.
Oh, shit.
I hate to leave such a good company, but I got to finish up. Speaking of the cryptid files, Miss Monster, she's a brand new narrator. And,
yeah, y'all go check her out.
Yeah, please check her out. She's a great girl, and I think this will be her actual third video. But yeah, I'm gonna finish that up and put that on the channel tonight, and everyone on panel and people in the chat, like sooner or later, maybe if I don't fall asleep, I'll have a AM show. But if not, I will see you guys next week. I'm actually going to take a week off streams. I'll still release videos. I'll still be in the field and everything. But
I think we have a bidding war going on over here on the thing.
Yes, Jen L donated $2. She said, "Thank you, Vault, for helping all things." And the Night Companion, $20.01. Gas money and Snicker bars to Brown Springs. The Night Companion has spoken. D, we will explore together. Lakeia, I'll send you an Eminem yellow bag any day. Vault, old tunes for old bones. Oh my God.
awesome.
Hey, and like I said, y'all don't forget to go over to D's and our other guest. What is your name again, sir?
The Cascade Bigfoot is the channel.
I keep wanting to call him Mr. Bigfoot. So like I said, I don't want. It's not coming up on here of what your name is. That's the reason why I keep wanting to call you Mr. Bigfoot, because I just see the Bigfoot picture. Dude, that picture right there reminds me of that damn thing we were just talking about so much. If you put a dog head on that damn thing, it will scare the shit out of you.
And another thing, Vault is very bad with names. Just letting you know up front.
Too many head traumas.
Concussions aren't fun either. I never got the severe head traumas, but I had a concussion or two. I think I'm starting to feel all that stuff now.
Yeah, the only person screwed up more hell once to me is Evil Knievel. But dude, I hate to see you go, but like I said, I will be calling you tomorrow. And like I said, I think I about done talk myself in. Like I said, I'm fixing to start doing some excursions again because I got out of it a little bit, let some stuff cool down.
Right on, man. You know, I'm down to go out at any time. Like I said, jump off the live streams next week, kind of reformat everything, and if I, of course, you know, do an AM show, you and Lady Lakaya, the librarian, are more than welcome, and Miss Vamp. As a matter of fact, I will.
Ooh. She just donated $20.05 with sad faces and says it won't let me in.
I can't figure out why. And hey, don't take away from your Absol now. Vamp has got this. She has rescued this dog. It's a cute little cuddly dog. The only problem is it don't like doors.
It's a beast, or curtains.
Yeah,
or cages.
It just wanted to remodel. It was redecorating.
Mark,
covers.
Thanks for hollering at me at the last minute and jumping on with me and the okay, and everything.
Hey, he's going. I'm going to make sure he's a regular from now on and stays around because I see D hangs out with some cool people and I like you, dude. I like the way you think, like the way you talk.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
If you don't care, stick around. Like I said, we'll tear up something else. But D,
awesome.
You know, anytime.
Absolutely, for sure. And like I said, if you're still up and around, hop on there with me. I'm gonna let everybody know over at the Bigfoot Dogman Research Project. I'll be taking a week off, so they won't be surprised or anything.
Are you gonna do something else later?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish Miss Monster's video, and that'll be chapter 2 of volume 2 of the Cryptid Files. And I'll do an AM show, and I'll be back on live streams next week.
Nick, you're not gonna do nothing tonight, or?
Oh yeah. I'm doing my last AM show for the week, and that'll be it for about a week. I mean.
Hey, have you already got a topic?
Yes. No.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Hey, well, what about what I talked about? I'll get on there with you after we shut this one down. Will we take that map and we go over the different?
Yeah. Let me. I do remember. Let me work on that. I'll get with Tater Plays, and we may be able to make that happen.
Hey, send me a copy of that because I want to go. I can go over it a little bit better and faster, and because there's some wicked stuff in there. You know?
Hey, yeah, the coordinates though is the only thing. You know, like he's the one that pulled up the map.
Oh, okay.
I hope it doesn't end up like a fail. We kind of had a fail on these stream.
No, hey,
he couldn't get his stuff to work right.
I mean, people are still in there having fun for whatever reason. Yeah, it was. I'm in a whole lot.
I had a blast.
Frustrating day yesterday. But
well, like I said,
every day's a new one. It gets better.
Hey, I know we're gonna be on. We're gonna be over here until you get ready to do what your stuff is. Because, like I said, I ain't done talking about Beavis and Butthead with their stupid ideas they had. And like I said, just holler, just call me or send me a text.
Absolutely, and thank you again for having me on and talking about that.
No problem. Hey,
it's extremely important, and I think that was a topic that needed to be touched on. And I mean, it makes people like me, Mark, Kirk Stokes, list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Exactly.
Anybody, the folks in the chat, if they've only had a chance encounter and they want to go back and have another one, it makes it difficult on us to convince somebody younger than us or who's new what to do or how to do it. If people like these fools are out there tricking people for fame and fortune, which they wouldn't get anyways. So. Thank you for actually bringing that up. I do appreciate that.
I hadn't. What made me think about it is how mad I was, and I was on the drive back. I was trying to keep from turning around and going back and beating every shit out of them again. I mean, I didn't say again. I mean, but I'm gonna shut up before I incriminate myself a little more. But you know, there's nobody that talks about this side of it. Everybody talks about all the, you know, I went out to this place and found this, but nobody talks about, well, I had these two idiots, or I had this idiot try to hoax me, and what to look for and what to listen for. Because
and the damage it does.
I'm gonna tell you right now, out of 10 people, out of 10 places you go to, one of those 10 may have some activity. One of those 10 may be a true outright, there was no added or bull crap. And out of those 10, probably 3 of them are gonna be faker than hell. You just have to learn how to weed through them. And that's what really teased me off, because I spend more time trying to vet and convince myself is this a hoax or is it not a hoax? Because you get these idiots to do this shit.
I've luckily not had to deal with them, but if I did, it only happened once, and I get the word out.
Well,
they would too.
So, somebody wanted a little bit of clarification. Is this your final AM show, or is this just the final one of the week?
I'm sorry, me?
Yeah, they wanted to know if this was the final eight. They wanted to know.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to take up your show with all that. Jump on it later on. No, it's not the final AM show. I'm going to be taking a week off from streams, and I'm going to focus on in the field work because, like, yeah, that's actually the meat and potatoes of what I do, you know. And I've been doing like actual investigations as you speak, like talking to people here in this county and the adjacent county in Texas, up north in Oklahoma, and there's some things I have to get taken care of with a few occurrences happening around here. And I don't want the I won't say stress, but I don't want to have to take my attention away from them in any way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've got several people that have emailed me in the past that when I lost my phone in my contacts due to phones are not stay very alive around me for some reason. I don't know what it is. I've got to go back. They resent me emails with their numbers again, and that way I can call them because there's several people I got interviews with that's the only way they've got to talk to me is through their phone. So I'm getting set up to take those phone calls, put them in a show, and put the stuff out there because several of them have never told their stories to anybody else.
That's awesome. That's important as well.
Yeah, to get the word out there because it may be something in one. If it's just a little bit of information in one that I've never heard before, that means the world to me.
Right. Even if you know it leads nowhere. If this person is giving you that information and wants to confide in you, especially feels the confidence because it does take confidence.
Yeah. Well,
to go in front of an audience and do that, you know, that's awesome. You would give them that outlet.
Well, that, and sometimes just that person may have not talked about that incident for years, and it's weighing on them. It's, you know, because they haven't been able to talk to anybody, because most of the time, if you start talking about Bigfoot, they look at you like you got a third arm on your fucking head or something.
Right.
So
either that, or you know, there's the other aspect of it. You know, people want to take it, make it a pretty show, and then be done with the people. I mean,
yeah, and all they want is money.
Right.
Money.
Profiteers.
Yeah, I would rather have the group of people we have created over the money any day of the week.
Yeah, and the fact that you're sincerely helping people. But I ain't going to get on my soapbox. I left that in the other room. Thank y'all again. And, you know.
Well, see, I think you and just a couple of, I think you, DW, and just a couple other people knew about the charity stuff that we were doing. Like I said, I don't actually call it charity. I don't like that word. Just a helping hand.
You're helping folks.
Yeah, because like I said, when I see somebody that's been down in their luck for a while and it seems like they just can't catch a break, and then you hear back from them, oh my good goddamn.
Ooh.
Somebody just
donated a $50 donation. We have a $50 donation. I would not read the name. Said would like to be anonymous, paying something forward. That was done for me. Well, thank you very much.
Like I said, wow, just helping those people. When I hear, you know, and I do this actually like he just did. I actually do it anonymously because to me, when you help somebody like that, it's not about no recognition. But
right, yeah, to go and say, "Oh, I just did this for this person. Yeah, I'm great." You're absolutely right. Yeah, I hate that.
I have one of the people that work through the organization that gives me feedback, and because, like I said, that means more to me than anything. You know, hey, you know, I got so and so. Do you remember them? Well, and then like I said, I'm terrible with names. They usually have to describe them, or it'll be some sort of characteristic they had that I will remember. And they'll say, you know, like, you know, Smiley, or you know, Uncle Bob or something like that. You know, I wanted to tell you, he just got his own, he just got his first apartment. He's been working at Walmart for 6 months. He got his first apartment, and, you know, it's very, you know, it's not a whole lot, but to him, it's like the giantest castle in the freaking world. and that does more for me than anything, because he didn't ask for that, and he just needed a little help. And then I said, that means the world to me, y'all. And thank y'all for this.
I am literally sitting here in tears. I thank each and every one of you that donated. This is so going to help so many people.
And sorry I wasn't in chat and didn't get to see, but I heard like a lot of names that are over there, and I mean, y'all are awesome, you know. And I do appreciate you offering to do that. That means a lot to me. But to help somebody who can't help themselves is a whole lot more important than.
I think the next donation is going to be donated under the family, because that's who's doing it right now. Our loyal family that pushes us along. Damn,
absolutely, they're awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, man, like I said, when you get ready, you holler at me, and like I said, and we're all gonna run over there and bug the shit out of you.
Okay. I gotta figure out what we're gonna talk about, but yeah, for sure. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Vault Lakeia.
Hey, I think they're gonna be I think they're gonna like some of the stuff that we found in a. This is where a dog man by his name is Tater Plays, right?
Right.
Tater Plays had a sighting of what I call a type 1 dog man that had a freaking log chain wrapped around his neck. And then in
that same strip of woods where you have that encounter, there's a shed that's surrounded by nothing but woods with no sort of visible entrances from satellite.
No, and then the other night, Dee brought that up, and I just happened to be. I actually was just glancing. I hadn't studied it, and I found 3, 4 other structures.
Yeah, keyed in right on them. It was great.
Yeah, guard shack, and there's no other doubting that it's a freaking guard shack.
I don't know if he's awake. Let's not hype it up too much, but I'll try my best.
All right, man.
All right, see you guys. Thanks again.
All right, appreciate it.
Later, D.
Mr.
Oh my gosh,
Mr. Bigfoot, I'd like to hear some more of your stuff that you've got, if you don't mind. And do you have a channel?
Yeah, it's called Cascade Bigfoot.
Well, dude, if you ever would like me, I don't know if you do live streams or what you do over there. What exactly do you do on Cascading Bigfoot?
When we first, like I said, we had our first sighting. It was September 2015. We started just taking video. We got, first we carry around a video camera, then we got into wearing cameras on our heads and our backs. When we got into it, we were into it for over a year before we even considered posting anything online. So a lot of our stuff was just, of us walking around. And then now we were doing more interactive stuff to create better videos for YouTube. But we've been out there dozens and dozens of times since then. I kind of gave you some highlights of it, but the area we go to, that's a valley that's over 30 miles long. There's one way in and one way out with a logging road, and there's multiple logging roads that shoot off, different directions with creeks and streams. And so in the last year and a half, we figured out different family groups are out there, and they've been at those same locations year round. And then we have some other locations that probably 4 more that we're working to see if we get regular activity at.
Did you say that? I don't want to. Did you ever say the name of the state that you're researching in?
Yeah, I'm in Washington State.
Okay, you're in Washington State. You say it's a 30-mile long valley?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a valley that, the road is, the main logging road is probably 30 miles. I mean, it's not given a name. It's got a, Forest Service Road number this, there's no name of the road, but, and there's really nobody out there. There's one guy that lives out there. I think years ago, there was some private property out there, and he inherited a small piece of property, built a cabin on it, and he's kind of a recluse, all living off the grid, but and he doesn't even have a vehicle. He hunts and fishes for his food. He's really a hermit, and I'm retired Navy, and he's retired Navy too. So I ran into him out there one day, and we've kind of hit it off. And I've given him some food and some money. You know, he's kind of scraggly, but he gives me, you know, hey, you need to go over here and check out this area over here. You know, I saw something over, you know, footprints over here. You need to go check it out. And stuff checks out. You know, he's helped us out a lot. You know. So.
Did you serve? You say you were Navy. Did you serve?
Yeah, I'm retired Navy. I was in from the mid '80s to 20 years. So.
So you got to go. You got to go to the sandbox for the first tour.
Yeah, I was over there for the first war, and then I went back when we were bombing Afghanistan.
Okay, I didn't want to bring up. Didn't want to bring up nothing you didn't want to bring up, but I want to tell you thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, yeah. My son's in the Navy now. He's a Navy pilot. So.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being a swabby, you know. you gave plenty of roughnecks a lot of rides.
Yeah.
I since you have never met me, like I said, I do go by the Vault Keeper is not just my name. I've been called that for many years. A lot of people don't know a whole bunch about me. I kind of keep it that way because there's a lot of nuts out there. But I got the feeling. Do you remember any of the? Did you ever get to hear about the Reapers?
No.
Okay. Well, I want to talk to you off air sometime. Like I said, I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Okay. Yeah, we you know, like I said, when we first got into this, we weren't thinking of putting anything out there on the internet. It was just for our own confirmation, let's say, of, you know, what we saw that day, you know. And, you know, it's kind of a long, our first encounter was kind of long. My buddy actually didn't see it. I was the one that saw it, and the first time I saw it was probably 30 seconds, and then it moved and came closer to us, and it was probably 45 seconds the second time I saw it. But then we had went down there, and that's you know, when we saw the giant footprints and the food that was piled up, and then all the snapping and breaking of branches. But I made a fatal error that first day because, like I said, you know, we went out there just to scout hunting areas, and we were going to overnight, and the subject never came up. You know, we never talked about it. We never thought, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say I was a disbeliever or a believer. I just never thought about it, you know. And but I never spent much time in the woods either. I spent most of my time stationed overseas. So and then I retired here in Washington, for this is my last duty station. But so when I first saw it, I ran over to the pickup truck, and my first inclination was to grab a rifle. And I don't know why I did that. I was, you know, I was pretty frightened. And then when we went down there and saw all that, and then they're breaking tree branches to scare us, we backed out of there. And I was so shaken up from what I saw and so filled with fear. And I was mostly pissed off about being so scared. I mean, I was pissed. I emptied my rifle back into the woods.
Well, that might have been to the point. I've had something similar to that, where you know, animals can sense fear, and sometimes when you've been scared so bad, and this animal knows it, and it may have been in the mood to. These animals have killed people before,
right?
And you know, I've heard stories of they come across, you know, half-eaten bodies and all kind of stuff, you know. So you might have saved your own life. You know, I don't care what anybody else says. Like I said, I do carry firearms. Those are mostly, I said, to protect myself from other idiot hunters or people, whatever you want to call them. But if it came down to it, yes, I would protect myself more than likely. And most of the time, say, I do go out by myself. 99% of the time I am by myself. And I just got so used to working that way. It's easier on me because I would rather put myself in a bad situation than put somebody else with me in a bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't, I couldn't do.
I just don't trust it. I don't mean to step on you, but
no.
I just don't trust that many people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my buddy was in the Army in the late 70s, early 80s, and he was Special Forces. And I've tried to go out there with other people just to take him out there, some other friends, and I completely felt uncomfortable because they didn't have a firearm, and I didn't think I could trust them. You know, if something happened, now my buddy that I go with, who's my best friend, I know he's got my back, you know, and so I feel comfortable with him out there. I won't go alone, you know, other than that one trip I made out there. But
let's talk about this, because you know I've talked a little bit about it, but this kind of goes along with the thing. You know, I try not to discourage anybody from going. The only time I've ever done that is when I thought it was just a bad idea for that person to go out there because he had no experience of any kind in the woods, and to me, he had a willy-nilly, you know, outlook on it where, you know, it's like walking into the park, and going into the wilderness is not like walking into the park.
Right.
Whether you believe in Bigfoot or not, there are things out there that science can tell you will kill you and eat you.
Right.
It's not just Bigfoot you have to worry about. Are there some things that you could tell our listeners that how you kind of prepare to go into a new area? Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, what preparations do you take before you go into the actual woods?
If we're going to go into a spot we hadn't been before, I'll usually get on Google Earth and you know, I'll look for a water source, you know, a creek, a stream. Like I said, it's a valley. The bottom of the valley is the main river, and then there's creeks and streams. And we'll try and focus looking along the area of the creek. And then when we first get to a location, I didn't mention it earlier, but I kind of do the same thing Dee did. Is like we'd cook on the bed of the tailgate of the truck. We'd cook a package of bacon and just get the smell in the air. And then if we're not, you know, if like I said, we always leave a camera on the pickup truck running. You know, we always try and figure out. You know, we discuss maybe, you know, if something happens, what are we going to do? We're going to leave both of us have a key for the vehicle, you know, but I kind of look into online if there's any BFRO reports in the area, in that specific spot area, you know, of other you know, sightings and stuff. But
have you ever had any interaction with the BRFO before?
Yeah, when I first had my original sighting, like I said, it was on a Sunday. It was September 13th, 2015.
What was your encounter with them like? Because
it wasn't good at all. I filled out the report, and then one of their investigators came and talked to me, and I just from my interaction with him over an hour of talking with him, I could tell I'm not saying this about all of them. Just, you know, he's the only one I've ever met, but I'm not saying they're all like this. He was completely a nutball, you know.
I've had my own bad experience with them, and like I said, I'm not trying to say all of them because I went through 4 people before I finally just told them, look, I'm sorry I wasted your time, my time. Do I owe you anything? Because this ain't going the direction I wanted in. They were adamantly trying to tell me I didn't see what I saw. It was this. It was no. I've been in the woods all around the world for many, many, many freaking years. I probably walked more in the bush than most of them did in freaking Walmart. And it was, I don't have a good liking for them because, like I said, I've only met a couple that are in that organization that have more than 3 brain cells.
Yeah, he told me, he said, he asked me, he said, did you smell anything? And I said, no, I didn't smell any odor. And he goes, well, it was probably a female. I said, well, what does that have to do with anything? He goes, well, because they bathe themselves. And I said, how do they bathe themselves? He says, well, they take big chunks of cedar and they get in the water and they rub it on their fur. And I was like, thinking to myself, how do you know this? You know,
dude, I've seen the male, the female. Now they do take cedar and rub it on them. The other thing they'll do is they'll rob people's gardens for different herbs, and even plants like if you have oleander growing around your house, they have been known to take, oleander is poisonous. It's one of the most toxic poisons there is, but they'll take that and rub it over their skins and stuff. And I guess that keeps off certain gnats and chiggers and stuff like that, because it's a poison. If they bite them, they don't bite them but once and they die.
Yeah, he told me, he says that they live to be about 100, 150 years old. And I was just,
well, I don't know how the hell they would know that unless they even got. That's what I'm saying. That I don't like that misinformation. That's they're worse than the weatherman. They're just off the hip, willy nilly guessing. Yeah.
The retired fish and game veterinarian, his name's Dr. Briggs Hall. He was the only reason I even met up with him was, I was so shaken up by the first encounter that, I had filled out a BFR report. I called the ranger station. I called Fish and Game, and Fish and Game said that they don't investigate it, but they had a retired veterinarian that his hobby was that, and so he called me, and after talking to him, he wanted to go out there with us. But after seeing him, I told him, I said, "You look familiar," and he goes, "Well," "I was on like a couple episodes of that Monster Quest, 10 years ago." I was like, "Oh yeah." So his name was Dr. Briggs Hall. But I went out there with him. The last time him and I went together was last July, and I think it was July 15th, I think. And he likes to hang game cameras, and I'm not into it. But
I don't do that either. The other thing is, people don't realize how much scent they put on those game cameras. I don't care how well you wipe them down. They don't understand. As soon as you take that game camera out of the package, open it up, now it's covered on the inside, outside with scent. One hair can get trapped in the freaking hinge, and that one hair is going to put off so much freaking scent that you can't cover up that it's worthless.
Yes. And he called me up. He said, "Hey, I want to go hang some game cameras." And he's been supportive of me and gone out there with me and my buddy when we asked him to. So I thought, I'll go with you. We'll go out there and overnight. And he says, we'll just hang up like 10 cameras, leave them up overnight, and then we'll go back and recover them. So I said, I'll go out there with you. I had nothing going on. So we went out there, we hang these cameras, and then we found a place to camp at, and it was kind of near the river. The river is probably 100 feet away. It was just kind of this opening off the logging road, and I had worked. I work at night, so I'd worked all night and been up all day. So I had been up for well over 24 hours. And by the time we set up our tents, it was, like 8 o'clock. And here in Washington in the summertime, it doesn't get dark till after 10 in July. So I had crashed out around probably 8:30. And I was awoken probably, I remember looking at my watch, it was probably around 1:30, 1:45. But I smelled something. And that's the first time I ever smelled anything like that. It was like rotten meat and feces mixed together. And it was overwhelming. I mean, it made my eyes water almost. And I heard something moving around outside my tent, and then I was laying in my sleeping bag, and I didn't bring a pillow. I just had my head on my jacket, and I felt something reach under the tent and like move under my head. So I think, I'm not saying that it was a Bigfoot. I mean, that's my only reasonable explanation. It was as if it was feeling under the tent, under the bottom floor of the tent, like where I was in the tent, like with its hand,
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the impression I got from what happened. But
see, that's what I've
never really talked about it that much. But
you remember me telling you earlier, like I said, I'd moved from one side of the tent that I was in when that thing threw a log at me. And I said, the reason why I did that, because I felt that's almost the same thing I felt, but it was like at the edge of the bottom of the tent. It wasn't under the tent. It was like at the bottom of the tent. And the very next night, I moved over from that area to the other side, and it threw that damn log. Like I said, it was about 10 inches long, 10 inches around, 12 foot long. And it landed right where I was sleeping the night before. Didn't follow the whole thing, but it fell right where I was sleeping the night before. Collapsed my tent because I had to cut myself out of the tent.
Yeah, and so it actually meant to hurt you, probably.
Yeah, and because I'd teed it off, I'd been in this area tracking it, and I think that was it telling me, "Hey, I don't want you messing with me no more."
Yeah. That was in July. but previously in May on Memorial Weekend, a month and a half prior or 2 months prior to that, me and my buddy went out there and we were going to overnight on Saturday night, Memorial Weekend. We found this primitive road off the logging road. It cut back through the grass and the trees, and when we drove through it, we were actually breaking branches with the truck. Nobody had been driven back there in a while. We drive back in about 100 yards, and we come to a clearing about 60 feet by 100 feet, and there's an old fire ring, and there's like a tent that's kind of collapsed, and it's weathered. It's got like it's been there for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And there's an old Coleman stove that weeds are all growing up through it, and the lantern. It looks like somebody abandoned their campsite, you know. So,
Yeah,
so we
I've come
parked
across
there.
several of those.
Yeah, we parked there, and we looked like there was a path that kind of headed in the direction of the river. So we thought, okay, let's go down the river and we can get on the sand and look for footprints. So we climbed through there, get out on the sand for a few hours, and we found some tracks that came right out of the water, like they're crossing the river, you know. And so we went back to the truck, and I said, hey, let's just camp here. So we ended up camping there, and we set up our tents, and then we're cooking on the tailgate. We cooked some steaks and stuff, and we ate, and both of us forgot to bring a camping chair. So we were sitting in the truck, and it was probably 7:30, 7:45, and like I said, it doesn't get dark that late till around after 10 o'clock, and we're in the truck, and I'm practically nodding off, sitting in the passenger seat, and we got the windows down, and both of us hear a whoop off to our left in the woods, and then we hear an immediate response behind the truck in the woods, and then we hear another response from the right of the truck in the woods, like a triangle. They had us surrounded, and I looked at my buddy, and I said, dude, I said, you hear that? And he goes, yeah. And I said, I don't want to deal with this, man. You know, I had 2 weeks prior to that was when I was chased and hit from behind. I was like, I don't want to deal with this, man. He goes, oh, maybe it'll be all right. Maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe we'll just watch from a distance, you know. But I was just like, I just didn't want to deal with it. He didn't want to, he didn't want to leave. It's his vehicle. So I was kind of bound, you know. And so I crawled in my tent, and I had my tent on the right passenger side of the pickup truck, a couple feet from the right rear wheel, and he was about 6 feet from me, and he had I got to hand it to him, he's pretty brave. He left the rain fly off the top of his tent, so it was just the screen, you know. And he goes, I want to look at the stars tonight. And I said, yeah, you can do that all you want, you know. And so you know, I get in my tent, he gets in his, and I'm in there just not even 3 or 4 minutes, and I hear a thump on my tent, and it's still light out, and I'm like, hey, what was that? Well, I hear another thump, but this time I see an indentation hit my tent. And I thought, oh, they're throwing rocks, you know. And I said, hey, Doug, they're throwing rocks. And he goes, yeah, one just hit the screen above me. He goes, I saw it. And I was just like, oh, dude, I can't do this, dude. We got to leave. I can't do this tonight. I want to go. He's all, nope. He goes, just go to sleep. So he rolled over, and it's, you know, within 15 minutes, he's snoring, you know. And I'm just like laying there, you know, scared out of my mind the entire night. They kept throwing rocks at me, and then they were. At first, I thought they were pounding their feet on the ground to intimidate us, but then it sounded more of fist to chest, like they're pounding their chest. So boom, 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 like right outside our camp. Like if I had stuck my head out of my tent, I could have saw them, you know, and it was still light out. And then then it got quiet for a while, and it got dark, and at 10:32, I remember looking at my watch when this happened. They pushed a tree over next to our camp. It was all crack, boom, and I was just like, now it's dark out. My buddy's snoring, and you know, I feel like I'm alone. You know, I got 2 firearms in there with me. I got a 500 Magnum and a 45, and I'm freaked out, you know. And so then I hear something like fingernails touching, like if a woman has long fingernails and she touches the paint on your vehicle, you can hear tapping. I can hear, you know, I'm like right next to the pickup truck, I can hear something tapping on the truck, and then I hear something walk between my tent and the pickup truck, and there's only like 2 feet of space there, you know. And so he's walking through our campsite, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know. So then they went away, and then about 15 minutes later, I hear this loud foot stomps, like running, and it's running towards my tent. Boom, 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 boom. And it gets right up to my tent and stops. And they're bluff charging my tent.
Yeah, they were trying to get a reaction out of you. I hate that shit.
And I was in my tent, just freaked out of my mind, and So then they were walking through the campsite and they would like rub the side of the tent, hit the side of the tent. My buddy woke up around 2 o'clock in the morning and yelled out to me. He said, "Mark, are you awake?" And I said, "Dude, I haven't slept at all." And he goes, "They're in the camp." He goes, "One just walked past my tent." He goes, I could hear it and feel it on the ground, you know? I was just like, dude, they've been in the campsite all night playing, just messing with me. And I think they didn't mess with him so much because they could probably see him. You know, he didn't have the rain fly on, you know?
Yeah, and they could probably hear him snoring.
Yeah. So I got quiet for a little while. I was laying there and I could hear him, you know, running up to my tent again. And I'm just like, oh my God. Well, then I hear this, you know, like when you grab one of those blue tarps and it's crunch, it crunches, makes that weird sound,
Yeah.
And the base of the floor of your tent is made out of that material. And I kept hearing that noise. It was all crunch, crunch, crunch. And I was like, man, what is that noise? What is that? And so I turned on my headlamp and it was at the base of my tent. It was grabbing the floor of my tent and squeezing it. And I could see with my headlamp, I could see these big hands and the knuckles are pushing in on the nylon, these giant knuckles and hands, they're just squeezing the bottom of my tent, and they'd run away. And then they'd charge my tent a little while later and do it again. And then at one point I called out, I was just like, leave me alone, just leave me alone. It was like every minute seemed like an hour. Every second seemed like a minute, and every minute seemed like an hour. And that went on until probably 4:15 in the morning, and then at like 4:30, it got light out. And about 5 o'clock, I heard my buddy rustling around. I heard the zipper on his tent. And I just said, "Hey, Doug, are you up?" He goes, "Yep." I said, "You got your tent?" He goes, "Yep." I said, "Unlock your truck." And I put my boots on, grabbed my backpack and guns. I got in his truck and locked the door. He comes over. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I want to leave now. I want to leave." He goes, "Don't you want your tent?" I said, "No, leave it. I want to leave right now." So he's like grabbing his tent and like threw it in the back of the truck. And I said, "Dude, I just the worst night of my life, man. I've never been so scared."
I wonder what would have happened if you'd have picked that down, picked up one of your weapons and cocked the hammer back, because I've done that with some activity, because I thought literally this thing was fixing to come up in. I wasn't using a tent. It was a, you know what a trapper shack is?
Yeah, kind of like a lean-to kind of. Or...
Yeah, it's made out of like logs. It's not very big. I'm talking you, but it's outhouses. Sometimes are bigger than these damn things. It's just enough room to get in out of the weather and the cold. And it's got a little firebox, and you got a place up off the ground to put your sleeping bag and stuff and sleep there, and get out of the rain. It's probably usually about 10 foot long by 4 foot wide, maybe 6 foot wide. Okay. I was up in one of those things, and one of these things, it felt like it was trying to pick it up and roll it. Well, 90% of the time I carry a 45 on me. I don't know why. I'm just 1911 guy. Yeah. Well, the one I had sleeping, I had it stuffed up under the edge of my pillow. Well, I had the hammer drop down on it. There was one in the chamber, but it was just dropped down. It was in, you had to pull it back for single fire mode.
Right.
Well, I just got tired of the crap, and I reached back there up under my pillow, grabbed that damn thing. Because like I said, it felt like it was trying to actually pick the damn thing up and carry it off with me in it. Well, as soon as I cocked that hammer back, a hammer cocking back is distinctive as hell.
Right.
As soon as I did that, all activity stopped.
Right.
No more.
Yeah, I did have I have an F&X 45. It's not a 1911, but I had the hammer was already back, and I had the safety on, but I had the safety off, and it where its knuckles were, and it was squeezing the bottom of the tent. I had the barrel of the gun right up to the edge of the tent, where I thought maybe its torso or head would be. And if it was going to drag me off, I was just going to start shooting.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But I've had several people tell me that they've had a weapon, like shotgun and stuff like that. As soon as they ratchet around in that weapon, all activity stops. I'm talking that I've had it happen. I've heard several different people tell me, I had a Remington 870, and as soon as I locked and loaded it, flipped the switch, everything was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I firmly believe.
they've obviously seen hunters out there know what those long black sticks that go boom do, you know.
Yeah, they pointed at this deer and it makes a loud, gigantic sound, and then the deer's dead.
Yeah.
Then they come out there and drag it off.
Yeah.
I've gotten several. I've gotten one that I've been wanting to do. It's about some hunters that actually had their deer taken from them by two.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard stories like that too. Yeah, that's. And then what about missing hunters? I don't know if you ever listened to some of that missing 411 stuff.
Yeah, I don't talk about that guy very much because you got to watch talking about him because he will sue the shit out of you. But I have a problem with him, but by his tactics, because some of his tactics are just, they're not for me. Now, if you like him, that's fine. I don't have no problem. No problem with it. Everybody, just because I like oranges and you like apples, don't mean we can't be friends. It's just, right. I don't like his tactics. There's a couple of other people that have YouTube channels. I used to say their name. Now I don't, because like I said, I figured out even bad publicity gives them publicity. So I said, I just don't like their tactics. They're deplorable. And to me, a man shouldn't act like that.
Yeah. I have caught a lot of flack on my YouTube channel because I carry my 45, I carry my 500 Magnum, and now I'm also carrying a AR-10 rifle, a 308, semi-automatic 308. And, just because of what I've seen and experienced, and I'll admit I'm afraid. I'll admit it. And
well, if you don't go out there with a little bit of fear, and well, I wouldn't say fear, but fear's in it, and respect, you're being stupid.
Right. Yeah, I think fear keeps you alive. It keeps your senses up.
Well, dude, if you go, I don't know if you've looked at any of my stuff on my channel, but you go back and look at anything that's labeled Property X where it's a video. I didn't mean to, but in a couple of them, you'll see my firearms in there. And I carry long guns, like pistols. Like I said, I carry, and that's for my protection. I know it's not the one you shoot at you got to worry about. I know it's the one you don't see, because if you kill one of these things or you hurt one of these things, its buddies are going to fuck you up. I've done heard stories after stories that has happened.
Yeah, they're going to.
I just don't think it's necessary. I'm sorry. I just do not think it is necessary to
kill one.
I'm not saying you can't protect yourself. Yes, I'm not saying you can't protect yourself. Absolutely, because I protect myself, and you know this.
Oh, I know.
However,
hey, this is coming from the lady that carries a judge.
I just don't think it's necessary to have a dead one to understand it. I don't think it's necessary to just kill it to kill it. I don't.
Nope. That's not me either. Well, do you know about the federal law, the undiscovered species law?
No.
Okay. Now, Lakea is better explaining this than I am, because I leave a lot of, I put it in vault terms. In vault terms is this. The federal government has got a law out that is called the undiscovered species law. Am I right, Lakea?
Mm-hmm.
All right. In that law, it states, and it names Bigfoot, Sasquatch, actually it goes down all the way down to any upright hominid creature. Any kind of evidence, paperwork, pictures, recordings, anything like that, the federal government can come at any time and determine that you have broken a federal law, seize it, fine you, and place you in jail.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, didn't you and DDoS from BDRP go over that topic?
Yeah, I'm talking. We even went and got the law, posted it for people to understand. Like I said, this is a real. You have to dig to find this. It's not readily available, but it is a law. The other thing is,
I don't have the if I had the link open right now, I don't know where I actually put it. I would drop it in the chat, but I know you're friends with DDoS. You might could ask him, and he can send you the link directly to it.
And then it goes all the way down to it goes all the way down to state. If you kill one of these creatures, they will immediately seize this creature. It will be donated to the closest college facility. All proceeds that you have made off of anything that has to do with this animal will be seized and donated to this college. You will be fined and put in prison.
Well, I mean, if you're acting in self-defense, I mean, wouldn't that be something, completely different?
According to this law, if you harm, well, how does it go? If you harm, molest, or
harass, I think, harm, molest, harass, or something like that.
This animal in any kind of way at any time, you have broken this law. So I know many people that are outlaws with me. But that's the thing. Why, with this law in effect, why would I knowingly go out and kill one? Because it's just going right now. I don't think they'll mess with you because, you really haven't got anything. You really haven't done anything that 10 billion people hadn't done. But as soon as you kill a body, and they're not ready for that body to be released, oh, they're coming after you. Trust me, they're coming after you.
Right.
And like I said, they don't need a body now. Used to, a lot of people say, well, science can't claim it as a living, breathing creature without a body. No, they have DNA studies and all that stuff now can prove just as much as a dead body can.
Right. I mean, even if let's say, even if you did have to kill one in self-defense, a one that just happened to be alone, okay, and which it came after you and tried to hurt you, and you had to take it down. How would you even get it out of there? You know what I mean?
You would actually have to do it like you do an elk. You would have to quarter it, cut it up, and pack it out in pieces.
Yeah. I'm under the firm belief too that they're never alone. Every encounter I've ever had, there's been multiple of them.
Oh yes, I have probably 8 right now out on Property X is where my research area is, and I'm the only one that goes out there. Lakea hasn't even been out there. No one legally. Now I have come across a couple of poachers, and I even come across an illegal grow outfit that was mysteriously just abandoned. These plants matured, no one touched them, and they died. And it's probably an acre by half acre. Now, who do you know that's going to grow that, fertilize it, spend all this time with it, but not collect it?
Right. Yeah. One time we were out there. I didn't go. My buddy couldn't make it, so I took my neighbor, who was a complete skeptic. And at the end of the day, he completely changed from a skeptic to a believer. We went out there to the same spot where we had camped out on Memorial Weekend. I was harassed all night in the tent, and the idea was I was going to go out there on the sand next to the river, and I was going to put a CD player, a stereo, playing music, a children's music CD out there, and it was going to hit repeat, and it would play, 24 hours till the batteries ran dead. Before we did that, we went along the river and we found some footprints, and I, showing, and found some pretty big ones actually. And so we set up the stereo, and we start walking back across the sandbar to the trailhead to get back to my pickup truck. And my buddy goes, "Hey, did you hear that?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "I was tree knocking." And I go, "Where at?" And he's pointing up to the little path we had to come off of. I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." So we started to walk up there, and we get about 10 feet up off the bank of the river onto the trailhead, and we hear the tree knocking again. And I was just like, "Oh!" And this is on my YouTube page. It's called Bigfoot Shows Himself Walks Away From Me. And so we're standing there, and I told my buddy, I said, "Get a recorder out of my backpack." And then we kept hearing the tree knocking from just up the trail from us a little ways. And I could tell through the trail is kind of overgrown, right where the trail, it makes like this 3 foot, goes down a decline about 3.5 feet. You had to walk between 2 small trees, and it's dark, it's black there, and it just doesn't look right to me. So I'm kind of holding off, and this is the only way back to my pickup truck. And so I'm like, oh, you know, thinking, what are we going to do? So I thought, you know, maybe I'm just seeing something, you know. So I drew my weapon, and as soon as I drew my weapon and I took a step forward, that's when I saw it. It turned around and walked away from us. And he walks down the path and disappears behind a cedar tree.
Yeah, because now you're a threat.
Yeah, as soon as I drew my weapon and took a step towards him, he turned and walked away. But I have, that's the only way back to my pickup. You know, I had to take that same path he was blocking. I had no other way to go. But I was scared. I mean, we were walking through there. We were hearing stuff popping and breaking to our left and right the whole way back to, you know, it's probably a couple hundred yards winding through the woods back to my truck. And it was pretty tense, you know.
Well, dude, I thank you for all these encounter stories and stuff like that you've told here, because I love it. I love them. They're great. Like I said, have you ever thought about doing any live streams?
Gosh, I I work at night. I work for the state of Washington. You know, I don't know. I'm kind of got my hands full with with the, you know, going out there. We go out there quite a bit. And then I got to go through I spend hours going through the video and editing and trying to find stuff hidden in the videos. I don't know. I mean, I kind of enjoy coming on other people's shows, like, you know, yours and Dee's. And, you know, I had a good time here. So.
Hey, dude, anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome. Oh
yeah.
Absolutely. You can have my spot.
Oh man, Miss Lakaya, she's a vital role to what we do here. And I tell you what, though, this has been one of the nicest and calmest damn chat streams we've had in forever.
Absolutely.
The last time it was this nice and quiet and stuff go on was when we had, I don't know if you know Wes Garmer or not.
Yeah, I know Wes.
He come on and did a show with me. I did one on his, and he was nice enough to come on here the next night and do one here. And like I said, that's one of the things I love about my family that I've built here. I don't call them subscribers. I don't call them viewers. I call them family, because, like I said, they're just, they're great.
Right.
Absolutely.
Do you know Vic Cundiff?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I did his show too. So.
Oh wow, that's great.
Maybe I hit a sore.
No, never. We wish everybody well here from the Vault of Nightmares and lots of success.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
All right.
That's why I spoke for you. I'm the nice one. You're not.
No, I just pretend to be one.
Absolutely.
But like I said, anytime you want to come here, that's what I was going to tell you after the live stream ends, stay on. And like I said, or either, but I tell you what, if you'll email me your contact information, you can send it to I'm trying to think which one to send it to.
Your email's on your
yeah, you can send it to that one. I finally got back into it. I thought somebody had actually hacked it, but it was just my stupid ass putting in the wrong code.
Okay.
I thought you were like not checking them on purpose, to be honest.
No, I thought somebody had hacked it, and I was teed off, but I was actually putting the wrong code in for it. That was.
I'm sorry. Leave it to you, boss man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I hacked myself. But me and computers and phones and stuff don't get along. I'd rather have a topographical map, a sextant compass, and hit the woods.
Yeah, I'll email you my contact, and I'll come on anytime you want. If you know, I work Monday through Thursday night, so
okay.
Anytime Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can come on. So.
Well, I'm kind of I was on just about every freaking day, and I took a little hiatus because Lakaya got me sick, and a couple other things come up. And
those are your flu germs. Don't blame that on me.
I had the Lakaya flu.
No, you need to learn to use some Germ-X when you come to work.
Germ-X. I'm in the woods most of the time. I don't need Germ-X. I come here for 10 minutes, and damn, I got all kind of freaking shit attacking me germ-wise. But I like to stay out in the woods. That's where I feel at home at, and Like I said, I started doing record. I am the worst videographer probably on the freaking YouTube planet. Videoing is new to me. I tell people, I say it's kind of hard to video, tote a long weapon, and keep your head on a swivel and make sure you're not fixing to do something that it's going to piss something off to rip your head off. D's got video of me about 10 feet from one of these creatures. I just keep walking and I realize, oh shit. And I don't acknowledge it. I just keep actually walking. I just turn the camera and walk on past, because I believe these things, if you act like you don't see them, they'll just kind of like hold what they're doing. And if you do act like you see them, there's no telling what they could do, because now it's not, it realizes, well, he sees me, and I'm like you. I know they know what the damn weapon is. He's got a weapon. I got to get him before he gets me. That's the whole thing keeps running through my head. So I just nonchalantly just kind of like just turn and walk off into a different direction. But like I said, I'm about 10 feet away from it.
Right.
I'm close enough that I can hear it softly breathing.
Wow.
That was an accident, though. Like I said, I was actually trying to get to something else I saw that I was interested in, and then it's like, hello. And like I said, the whole thing that ran through my head was like, shit, I fucked up.
Yeah, I'll come on up. I'll give you my information. I appreciate you having me.
That's no problem. Well, I think we're going to call it a night here, y'all, and y'all be looking for Dee's show to come up shortly. Okay. And I appreciate you coming, man. I appreciate, like I said, send me your information. And as always, y'all, it's been fun. And don't forget to lock that door on your way out.
All right. All right. All right. Take care. All right. Bye.